Welcome back to another podcast with our special guest, returning guest, Anonymous Rae, and with the usual hosts, me, POS MP88 or Josh, and then Be the King 27 or Brian, and welcome back to another fire podcast.
Let's fucking go.
Leave the botch in there. Leave the botch in there.
Leave the botch in. It gotta stay.
Well, we just had to spike it up a little bit.
Oh God,
man! But welcome back, Anonymous Rae. How you doing, bro?
Sir.
Good, man. I'm doing great. That first 30 minutes of parlor content was quite refreshing. Definitely, it got me awake now, so I'm good, man. I'm doing great. How are you gentlemen doing?
Fantastic.
I'm doing fantastic, bro. Whenever us three get together, it's always a blast.
It's a vibe, man.
You guys probably won't see it because I don't know if I can include it in this video. But before this, we were talking for a straight 40 minutes of recording just crazy stuff, bro. So,
that's not gonna make it to the tube.
I don't think it's making it to the tube. It might make it to the hub though. But
yes, sir. No, man.
You see Brian's love shack dead in the back over there, bro.
Yeah.
He's gonna get the mood lights going. Turn the red lights on, Brian.
That's the money maker right there. You think that it's this mouthpiece. You think that it's Twitch. You think it's my job, but really it's the bed. You know what I'm saying?
You just need a red heart pillow on it too. That's all you need. Complete this set.
Nah. What we do on that bed ain't love. That ain't love. The heart is for love.
Oh my gosh, bro.
It's black like my soul. For a reason. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Yeah, he be shooting porn. He be shooting porn.
He just shut it straight out, bro.
The whole setup, the love couch in the back, bro. He be shooting porn.
He be doing this thing. Lift up the camera. Yo, you see the dummy back there? You see it back?
He ain't the only thing getting beat up. Yo, don't put that in there. I guess we're gonna do the quick reveal because like I never really ever exposed any of my setups like that. So
give us a house tour
back there. Huh?
Give us a house tour.
I can give you a house tour. This thing got a wire in it. You see it? It's wired.
Oh, he just called it.
Anywho,
he said he's broke. It's all right. It's all right.
Okay. You just got Wi-Fi cameras everywhere, dog. Anyway, we got the dummy back there. He comes out every so often. He got to get beat up. We got the title back there because we champions. You already know. And I don't know if the camera is going to hit this angle, but
why do you have a black wall for it?
Because it's my colors, dog. You see the drapes?
Oh,
yellow. You see the wall?
That's
black.
Actually sick.
You see the bed? Black and yellow. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
And then white for representation. Yeah. We
and the what?
It. I said white for representation, you know?
That's right. Yeah.
Inclusion. It's all about inclusion.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's right. You can't exclude nobody. But yeah,
we're back with another podcast, guys. I hope you guys like that intro.
You already know.
This shit is wild already, bro. Already fucking wild, man.
So, Ray, tell us some things you have cooking up right now. I saw recently a tweet you put out about your wrestling content, I think it was. Right? It got to 1,000 followers, something like that. It's something crazy, bro. Let's talk about it.
So on TikTok, on the TikToks, man, I'm having a good time, bro. Like, especially like being like Brian knows, like I'm a huge wrestling fan, huge wrestling advocate, and I was always like just trying to look where I want to like do some wrestling shit. Like I'm doing like an experimental phase, cause like I've been like since I've been putting wrestling content solely on my TikTok. Like I've been interacting and been incorporated more by like wrestling aficionado peoples. Like I went on a few podcasts, a few IG lives, talking about wrestling, bullshit about wrestling. Me and my boy are working on one for YouTube. It's been overall fun because I legit enjoy it. And I don't see myself like burning out or getting exhausted or tired of it because I legit fucking enjoy the fuck out of it. And I was just experimenting like, okay, let me just post clips because I know how TikTok algorithm goes. And I decided just to experiment, start putting content like once a day at like 9:30, 9:45.
That's the sweet spot.
And it really is because it's like, that's when like people from Europe is waking up. people from California still like they're about to enter the evening, and then East Coast, we're in the evening. And it's just a nice spot, bro. And like, I'm getting all these interactions, communicating, meeting people. I just went to a wrestling event on Sunday. I saw some people there that I met from TikTok.
Hey.
It was a good time, man. Like, it was a good time. The whole wrestling collaboration stuff is great, and I definitely want to dive more into it. And I'm not gonna say full sin, but I definitely want to go at a moderate pace, and I'm enjoying the process of it so far. So I'm not gonna lie.
I do want to ask, so how is your pacing with this type of content? Because you said you're not burnt out. You said it's because you think you love it and everything like that, right? Obviously, you have love for it. I do want to ask, so do you think a part of that is how often you're putting out content or how often you're working on it? Like, are you putting out content like, 3 times a week, or is it like a lot of times per day? Like, how often is your schedule?
That's actually like a dope question, because like the way I'm like processing it, it kind of goes into an overall agenda of what I'm doing, right? So it's like I'm posting like once a day or once every other day. And it's just something like I'm playing around with edits and like finding like obviously there's going to be stumbles along the way until I perfect, the editing craft and what I want to do and the type of things I want to do with it. But the reason why it's not burnout, and it has nothing to do with how often I'm posting. It has to do with accessibility on overall social media platforms. I feel like I'm enjoying this phase I'm entering, and it's not only with the wrestling content, it's going to like transition to other things and metamorph into other things, but the accessibility is not there, and I'm enjoying that because I'm not going out of my way to follow up on this Discord. I'm not posting when I'm dropping on TikTok. I'm not sharing that on the only thing y'all had got from me from TikTok was that I was like, oh, I hit 1,000. That was it. And that was like to show that you can do it without pandering to people, without relying on the power. I was talking about the power of friendship.
Yeah, the fake relationships.
Like I'm not hitting nobody up. I'm shadow dropping everything. I'm not posting it in my Discord. I'm not saying, yo, at everyone, go hit this, show me some love. I'm not doing none of that. So this is all organic, natural people that have a love for the same thing I have a love for, where it's not people that will participate in it as long as they fuck with you at that moment. And then let's say riffs or discrepancies, then that support is gone. These are just random, genuine people that enjoy the same thing I love. And I'm doing this all by myself, shadow dropping, not including all type of, the regular social media standards of at everyone, post on Twitter, post on IG, put it in my story, put it in my post.
Right.
Go hit this, go show me love, slide in people's DMs, yo, can you show me this? I'm not doing none of that. And that like non-accessibility, that non-conformist way is making me enjoy it more, because like even when I come back to Twitch or YouTube or both, I plan on to keep that same ideology. I'm shadow drop. I'm not announcing. I'm not doing like you see a notification because I have a bot in my Discord that's going to say it. But I'm not going to make some public thing because I want to make it feel like an event. And I started, again, Josh, you could relate to this. I started looking into like how clothing do with shadow drops. And it's an experience. It's an event to like be there for it versus trying to cater people into and usher them into something that they might not want to be a part of anyways. So I'm trying to take that philosophy of like how clothing do with shadow drops and make it feel more than what it is. So I'm going to take that and translate it to my overall social media presence. So,
and that makes sense too. Like, because if you think about if you're just blasting it on all your socials, right? It's like people that are already in your circle are going to be the ones seeing it. Like, you're not going to attract as much organic views as if you just are dropping it. Because what I typically tend to see is like through Twitch, Twitter, you're going to end up having like your friends dropping in or your friends commenting. If you have something that just like really pops and gets good interaction, you'll get some strangers interacting with it. But TikTok, YouTube, those kinds of things, like the people are searching for the content they want. And if they're finding you, it's because they want to find you, not because you asked them to be there. Like that.
Exactly.
That's a good way to look at it.
Like you said too, like because YouTube is so detail oriented.
Yeah.
Like people type in DIY, how do I sew a sweater? And then you can come up with whatever. Like they know what they want and they know what they're specifically trying to learn or inquire or just take in content wise. That all that fluff bullshit of just saying like, hey, blah, 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 blah. And like you're not really putting time into your title, you're not putting time into your thumbnail and stuff like that. That deters people that can eventually be viewers or supporters or fans or whatever. And the caveat, that's another thing I'm doing too. I'm putting a buffer, and this sounds, it's not done out of malice, but I'm putting a buffer between me and audience. Like if you want to be treated a certain way, you gotta present yourself a certain way.
Yeah.
And I'm really keen on the accessibility. Like you can't just make everybody your best friend. You can't just have everybody, as much as that's what we're taught in the community aspect of Twitch, Discord, all this other stuff. I'm trying to create buffer zones. Like the people I fuck with that are in my inner circle, they're in my inner circle. But I can't just be that accessible to everybody, because that's how you get burnt out. Because you're trying to be there for everyone. You're trying to, you know, you got to take in everybody's emotional baggage and everybody's mental baggage. And that shit weighs on content creators to where, I said this before, it's not a coincidence. Like I can throw out and just feel, I feel like you could say 80% of the major content creators are like unhappy.
Yeah.
And it's like, it shows because they're putting up this facade, because that's how the community ideology is, that you have to be there for everyone. You have to be accessible. You have to be accountable for everybody and deal with this, that, and the fourth, when I'm trying to show you that you don't. That's my goal.
Yeah. I feel like I like that. That's
when you're saying that the 80% of like YouTubers and like content creators are unhappy. I feel like that stems a lot from what you were saying, just the fake relationships and putting on a facade. At the end of the day, you kind of end up just being a fake person. You don't really know who you are, because your internet persona is different from your actual person. Your friends are just friends you made because you wanted to get further towards your goal. So they're not like true friends. And like you were saying, you can't make everyone your best friend, because if everyone is your best friend, if you consider everyone your best friend, then you really don't have any best friends. You know what I mean? And you do see that a lot in like in Hollywood or in these YouTubers' career. They'll be like, oh, this person was my best friend. I told them everything. Really, it wasn't really the best friend, because they turned on them or they did something they didn't expect them to do because they put too much trust in that person. You have to be selective, and that's kind of a hard fact in life. You can't have friends with every single person you meet, no matter how much you respect them, no matter how much you like them. You just have to be selective with who's around you, you know? Like, even online, I'm accessible to everyone, but my group of friends are like, my inner circle is small. You know, it's like just Brian, like my close people are like Brian, Jordan, Tyler, and like 3 other people probably, you know, that I'm forgetting. But it's not like 20 plus people, you know, because those aren't best friends. Those aren't people you can really trust. That's just regular acquaintances and friends, you know?
Yeah, that's why I be going missing sometimes. Like I'll be on Twitter like hot and heavy for like 2 days, and then I'll like scroll through and I'm like, this is why I wasn't here. Like that's why like probably when we first met, like I was probably super stupid consistent on Twitter, Discord, everywhere. But like I've had to distance myself, because it's like, man, I'll be trying to like spread positivity, like feed real positive energy into a person, and they will just like bring you down. You could tell them 3,000 things that are beautiful. They'll come up with 6,000 reasons why they all suck, you know? Like you just can't have those people in there, because like that will kill your energy. You could be a naturally kind, positive person, and if you got somebody telling you like every 3 days, like, yo, I'm just depressed, like I'm trying to kill myself, like I'm not taking anything away from anybody, just so that's clear, you know, like you have to sometimes find ways when you're down to be positive. That way you're not pulling other people down. And some people just will not do that, man. They will literally drain a good soul and make you become callous over time, because you're like, oh, here we go again. Here we go again with the depression.
Don't
here we go again with the attention grabbing. Yeah, dude. It sucks too, because like everybody wants to be there for everybody. I feel like at the core, everybody has good intentions to a certain extent. Humans are born a certain way. Sure, we have evil, but there's also a certain good. Like nobody wants to be the bad guy from the beginning of birth. Kids want to be loved. You don't have to teach that. It's in them. But somewhere along the line, those things get forgotten and it becomes a me party. And you can't have people like that around you, even if it's just online. Because, I mean, spirits come through the technology, man. You feel that stuff. Like, you know it. You feel it. It's not just like, oh, they can't affect me because they're in New Hampshire or something. Like, nah, like that makes a difference. Like how you're feeling and how you're interacting with people.
Nah, you're 100% right.
That buffer.
Like I feel like to go back what Josh said, like I do agree with you, but I do think there's a minority also within that. Like it's not just only like, people facades. Like there are people like that exist.
Yeah.
But there are people that genuinely think this is the way to behave because of the sheep culture. Like they're genuinely doing it, not out of malice. Like they think they have to be everybody's friends and they have. So it's not them maliciously trying to put up a facade or be fake. It's just that this is kind of the culture that we all been fucking migrated to because of the pandemic and all this other stuff. And they genuinely believe like this is how I genuinely believe. Like at one point, I genuinely believe like this is how you're supposed to behave. You're supposed to always be accessible. You're always supposed to be there for each member of your community. Show them that they have this importance and that importance and blah, blah, and all that stuff. So like there are people out there that genuinely believes that. There are fake people out there too, but there are also people that are just caught up in that this is how the culture is. Right. And they just accepted that mantra. And what Brian said is like, yeah, man, like energies are like super strong, man. Like they can transcend technology, right? And it's funny because that movie Transcendence is about the whatever. You guys catch that on the replay. You'll catch that on the replay. Okay. But that was bars. But you guys catch that on the replay. But
in the studio cooking.
Yeah, because Transcendent was about emotional stuff and how AI became more than just AI and the deep connection to the people and energy and souls and stuff. So yeah. So yeah, I 100% agree with you on that, Brian. Like 100%. Like energies is, and it's weird. Sometimes I catch myself and I'm thinking like, am I? Because like I want to go to your point about positivity, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I can be a little, scathing. I can be a little negative Nancy or whatever. But it's not like I guess for me, and I can only speak for me, like I'm not like anybody that interacts with me on social media or sees my social media rants or tirades or anything like that. It's not that I'm doing it to be a fucked up person or a negative person. Is that I'm trying to express the world how I see it.
Yeah.
And trying to make people see other ways. Cause it's like, I just feel like people are lost and they're caught up in following with what everybody else does.
Yeah.
And individuality has been completely like suppressed and taken away from us. And nobody wants to stand on their own merits or stand on their own integrity and be the best of them or true to themselves. Everybody wants to be accepted and wants to fit in.
Yeah.
And I want people to embrace their individualness. Like, there's something special in all of us.
Yeah.
And you have to embrace that and let that shit out, basically. Like let it out. Don't be ashamed of who you are just to go with the current. So
yeah, I think,
and I 100% agree.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel strongly about your point because I think individuality should be encouraged, right?
Yeah.
But I feel that the society we're in today, it definitely encourages people to just be sheep, follow the trend, follow what society is saying. I think the greatest example of that is Logan Paul. Like, we all know the story with Logan Paul. I think we all know the story with Logan Paul. The whole Forest video, he got like got canceled. Didn't get deplatformed. Yeah. But he got canceled. Nobody liked him. And then he got a second chance with like the fight against KSI and everything. But after that, if you see his content majorly just swayed toward what society was feeling. So if there was an idea that society was pushing out, he would back it. he would push it on his podcast, whatever. And I'm not saying that he doesn't believe in these things. I'm not saying that it's not something he believes in. I'm not saying that he doesn't endorse these ideas. What I'm saying is that you can tell it's clear that he's afraid of being canceled again. You can tell it's clear that he just wants to be on the good side of society. And you can tell that whenever he does these takes or makes these videos and it goes viral online of, oh, he said this about this, and everybody's praising him, he gets more viewers and more people are coming on his side and supporting him now. You know, it's obviously, two sides to a coin, but you're kind of losing your individuality because you're scared to say what you really think. And you're also kind of forced to go against what you really think because you know that society won't like it. You know, I think it's scary to think that people are scared to say what they think. They're scared to announce that, oh, I really don't like this. Or they're scared to say that, oh, I agree with this person. That's a scary thing to think. Because then we're just moving more towards a sheep-minded society that's, although people don't believe it, it's more easy to control people who all think alike than 1,000 people who think different, you know?
Yeah. I got Brian, 2 points on that.
Wait, hold on, Brian. Hold on.
Okay, I can tell he wanted to respond because in the middle of it, I saw the face. He's like, I want to say something.
So I be spitting sometimes. You know.
Are we going down this hill?
So
Josh,
suppose.
Hold on, wait, Brian. Hold on. All right, Josh, we going down this hill?
We can.
Are we going down this hill?
We are.
He said.
I saw that same thing you saw that hinted at that.
Which one? Is it recent? Is it recent?
You know who said that about Jake Paul? Are you? Let's go ahead. This is putting cards on the table. Unless either you guys have the same brain, or you were inspired by it, right?
Yeah, I can say that. Yeah. Okay,
so where did you watch that?
I think
that rhetoric about Jake Paul.
No.
If you don't, I'll say where I saw it. Somebody said the same thing verbatim, not verbatim, but loosely interpreted as that. And society will castrate people for saying that they indulge in this particular person's content.
I will say, I'm not sure I saw the same as that thing you did. Because I saw recently a video of Logan Paul saying something that I was like, yo, this is the most stupid thing for him to say. It wasn't that it was stupid. I'll just say the subject line. He was talking about like Christianity, right? And his friend's George Janko, he's a Christian. He was like, he was talking about like how he follows Christianity, blah, blah, blah. And then Logan Paul was like being extremely disrespectful back to him. And then he tried to phrase his response in a way that made him sound like he was trying to be smarter than he was. Made him sound like he was trying to be more.
That'll always make you look stupid.
Yeah, but not even that. But he tried to make himself sound like he was on a higher pedestal than his friend, simply because his friend followed a specific religion, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, this is so stupid. But like, I did see comments saying stuff like that, and I have seen stuff like that over the years talking about Logan Paul like that. So you can say that has influenced how I think about it for sure.
I saw Andrew Tate. I watched one of his interviews.
I knew that name was gonna come up. I never watched it, but I knew that name was coming.
I'll die on the hill alone.
That's fine. Hey, he's just a man.
I wasn't sure if we saw the same video. That's why I was like, I'm not sure if we saw the same video.
I saw an Andrew Tate interview that he did, and he was expressing like sentiments about like Jake Paul, how he cowers and like he caters his content now.
I saw that. Like
my
a
guys,
couple months
there
ago.
You go.
A couple months ago.
There you go. Let's down that hill together.
It was a couple
POS,
months ago.
Baby.
It wasn't like that. It wasn't.
Yeah. I saw that too, and I was like, I agreed with what, like the same thing you're saying. Like I agree with that. Like people are so afraid to express their actual thoughts because it's the safer method to just go with what's will be socially acceptable because that'll create viewerships or it'll just keep you on good standings with people because everyone's afraid of cancel culture. Everyone's afraid of being deplatformed. And I'm gonna give it to Brian because I cut him off. My bad. Go, Brian.
No. You're good. And even that, the fact that we had to even think about like, could we say the name? Like he's literally just a man. Like dude's not like whoever the Harry Potter villain is, who we don't speak of, or the dudes from the village.
Name. I said Vold.
His
name.
You got to get a slaughter tonight. But like the fact that we had to even ask, like on a podcast with three strong men, Like, we know who we are. We don't question who we are. But for a half a second, we had to think, could we even say the man's name? Like, that's how wild.
I was going to jump off that ledge. I just don't. I wanted to make sure if everybody else was.
I'll jump off too. They say if your friend
ain't gonna cancel us for mentioning a man that exists that walks this earth, that we're not, saying that he's a god.
We've seen. I'm not.
No, not saying
this is you guys' channel. This is you guys' channel. It's okay.
But in Kendrick's last album, he literally there was a solid 4 or 5 bars where he's talking about freedom of speech being gone, individuality being gone, and that resonated. I was like, I felt that. And as far as what you were saying, saying something to express individuality, there's definitely I'm saying this because this is truly what I feel versus this is what they want me to say. This is what the powers that be want to be said. And I feel like the individuality is kind of gone to a certain extent. It's if you have your own opinion, you're a villain. You can literally say something I don't know, what's controversial? Anything that's not, anti-religion or a certain group of people. You can't even mention it in any way of a positive way. I could be yo, that Jesus fed a bunch of people back in the day, and they'd be like,
how dare you?
No. He's literally a dude that walked the earth. This happened. This factually happened. Anywho, and that's not me imposing anything. But if I said Buddha or Muhammad or anybody did these things, and it's not just a man that lives today that did something good that's praised and worshiped today, like a celebrity or something, you know, it's religion. You're forcing your religion. It's nah, dog. I'm just talking. We can't just converse with other people that don't think exactly like us. It seems, I'd love to do a podcast where I've got people with different views than me, and we can literally legit have a civil podcast. But can I guarantee that the other side or somebody that thinks differently is going to be the same way? No, because it's you have to have all the right answers all the time, and we live in a world full of people pleasers and people that just want to say everything that sounds right. You can tell me no if you don't like something that I say, or I'm not gonna fist fight you. You can just be nah, dog, that's stupid. I'm is it? You might be right. Let's talk about it.
Literally, I 100% agree, man.
We can't debate without it being an argument. We can't problem solve without it be one person saying that they're better. Nobody gets that you can have different opinions and work together towards common goals or towards peace, things like this, because we let things divide us when deep down we're all the same flesh and blood, and we all have the same motivations. At the end of the day, we all want to be comfortable, we want stability, we want to feel loved. That's all we want. And we let stupid stuff divide us and feeling like we got to be one person instead of letting the individual things. We lost them. My man said I was boring. He cut out.
He said I'm about to go to sleep.
Sorry.
He said, here he goes again.
Now this man go talking. How dare he talking about podcast?
He's monologuing.
He's on a tangent, y'all. It's time to go.
What time is it? 9?
It's nobody wants to let 7 billion different people think 7 billion different ways.
Yeah.
Because you would get too far in the future, though. If you had 7 billion people thinking in their own individual heads, and being inspired is cool, but thinking their own ideas, own thoughts, thinking I want to go chase after this idea or go work towards this thing. 7 billion people doing that, you would have a way more advanced future. And I think you wouldn't, these big companies.
I got something else for that too.
Yeah. These big companies wouldn't be in the position they're in if they had 7 billion people thinking in different ways. That's why, no matter, I'm not saying the views that they're pushing is wrong. I mean, I don't agree with all of them. I probably don't agree with the majority of them. But I'm not saying all the views they're pushing is wrong. But what I'm saying is that the fact that they all can agree, okay, we're going to push these views. We're going to make sure that we can govern these rules over society in a way that the government can't, and they can't arrest us for this because we're a social media thing. They can't get mad at us about this, and we're a private company, so we can ban anybody who says something against it. And by making everyone think the same
totalitarianism as literally full control,
and by making everybody think the same way, they can control everyone and they can get richer while you stay in the place you're in. I'm not trying to make this whole conspiracy thing, but it's crazy to think that in today's society, to some people, I'm not saying to all or even saying to most, But to some people, getting like deplatformed, like not being able to use Instagram, Twitter, social media, and like just not being able to use online stuff, which is like a big deal today because almost everything's online. That's worse than like going to jail or something like that. That's to some people, that's worse than going
kids
to
right
jail.
now would probably take a whooping over losing their phone for 30 minutes. Like there's kids out there.
That was like 10 years ago. The pace right now, we'll go to jail.
My man said, "Can you just give me a whooping, please?"
Yeah.
My daughter's like that. My daughter's like that.
Oh, for real?
She's like that. Yeah, with her phone, she's like obsessed, and it's like, it's we're so codependent and like this symbiotic relationship with technology, and it's insane, man. Like I said this on my boy's pod the other day. I was like, bro, like the pandemic literally like accelerated us at least 15, 20 years into the future. Yeah. Like how so dependent we are on technology and internet. Like we get our food delivered through that now. People do online grocery shopping technology wise, dating, friendships, clothing. We buy people. You don't need a store. You can have an online market. Like it's just so been like everything's been digitized, and like the pandemic just super accelerated that.
Have you seen Anonymous? Because you were just talking about like, have you seen? You probably know about this, but Shein, I think it's pronounced Shein or Shane.
Yeah, Shein. Yeah, Shein.
They're the first like business to reach the clothing business, by the way, Brian. But they reached $100 billion, I believe it was, in valuation.
Yeah, they
don't have any physical stores, all online.
Nope,
everything's online. It's all online. That's insane. You know, that's unheard of. You know, but
are y'all
in the future, man?
Are y'all familiar with George Orwell, the writer?
Yeah, 1984.
Okay. Yes, bingo. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We are literally living out 1984. Like, not to sound like some conspiracy nerd or nothing, but like think about everything that we do. Right? Big Brother controlled everything that they did. They had the TVs where they could see them, they could interact. We can do that with our TVs. We can watch TV from an internet cable. We can FaceTime on, big giant screens, TVs, everything like that. The technology that we carry, they're always listening. You talk about, man, I really want some popcorn. You're going to get ads for Orville Redenbacher the next time you open your phone. Like, it's wild. And we let it in. We let it happen. And if they can control those small little details, like subliminally, what can they do to how we think? Like, the main character, smart man, he questioned things. He knew something wasn't right with society, but at the end of the book, they had that boy saying 2 + 2 = 5. Like, they were able to control him. It's a slow burn, man. Yeah. It's a slow burn. You got to be able to like maintain your individuality and question everything.
Bro, I was watching Skip. I was at work and I was watching Skip and Shannon, right?
Oh God, what clip?
The LeBron one today.
Oh, I gotta see
when it was going over LeBron, the Lakers going on a 2-game win streak, and
because they've been trash recently.
yeah. So they've been doing better. They've been doing a lot better. Like
they're down almost bad. Come on.
No. They're almost at 500. They're almost at 500.
Okay.
Yeah, they're almost at 500. So I think they're like 15-17 or like 14-16. Like they're almost at 500, which is good because everybody else is doing bad as well. Yeah. So fucking Shannon was talking about LeBron. And he was like, he said some acronyms. He said ABB, like, because LeBron dunked on somebody. And he said ABB, anybody but LeBron, because you don't want to be posterized. Bro, my next few ads was about some shit called ABB. I kid you not.
Yeah,
like, my next 4 ads on YouTube was about ABB. And I'm like, did I just hear this? And like, because I had repeated. So I was like, ABB. I was listening to it, I was like, Shannon, you're really reaching ABB.
Yeah.
And then my next ads on YouTube, I swear on everything, was some company called ABB. And I was like, yo, this is insane, bro. I was like, this is insane, bro. And I've never seen this ad before. It never came up ever in my fucking YouTube algorithm, anything like that.
Speaking of,
I have a question for you two.
Okay.
So we're sitting here promoting individuality, right? Do you think that is feasible for a utopian world?
No.
Like, if you have everybody thinking differently, that means laws won't align. What people feel is too much, too excessive. Like, So are we in the wrong for saying get rid of the sheeple mentality? Because sheeple mentality creates control and order.
I think a utopian society is just an unfeasible idea. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like something like a kid would say, "Yo, I want things to be perfect." Like, no, that's just not how the world works, you know? And like you can always work towards it. But the biggest thing, like you were saying, the biggest thing towards a utopian society is probably the fact that everyone has to agree on something, and that's just not possible. Like everyone has to agree, yo, we're gonna use buses and public transportation only and no cars. Then all the car heads get like, no, bro, I just bought a freaking Ferrari yesterday. Y'all see the cars I have in my garage? I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you talking about riding the bus with them?
Yeah, you see the people riding on this bus? Then they're like, oh, he about to Rosa Parks me. That's
oh, bro.
No,
he said you used to have a 93 Civic, right? You sit in the back. Oh my God. No, I think it's, you know, it brings a solid point, man. Like, I'm gonna use Orwell again. Animal Farm, right? I don't know if y'all read it.
One too.
Great book.
Yeah, Animal Farm, right? They got tired of like, hey, they're controlling us and what we're doing. We're gonna do our own thing. And then eventually, that chaos didn't work. And what happened? You had people in control telling them what would work, what's gonna be best, and they didn't like it. It was you can't please everyone. I think a utopian society sounds good on paper. It will never happen. Because in order for it to happen, there's going to be extreme compromises and a lot of unsatisfied people. There's going to be revolts, and then it would be an endless cycle. It would be utopian society, civil war, you know, rehabilitation, maybe utopian society. There's no way that you would truly have true happiness amongst everyone. It's an unattainable thing, and it sounds dark and, you know, depressing to say, but it can't happen. It won't happen, and it shouldn't happen, because if you have everything perfect for everybody and you don't have problems, how are you going to overcome and evolve if you don't have struggles that you have to deal with? You don't progress. You don't evolve at all.
And
like it just becomes.
Adding to that, first of all, I just think it's totally unattainable, and like the fact, like it's like saying I want every single person on earth to be rich, or every single person on earth to eat. It's just not. I mean, the hunger thing is probably possible, but like money.
Yeah, we can end world hunger. That's the only thing we can fix.
Yeah, the money is not possible. Not every single person can be rich, because in order to be rich, there has to be an imbalance of funds. You know, one person has to have $2,000, and the other person has to have $500, and that the total has to be $2,500. That's just the way that being rich works. It's not. It's a fact that you can't say I want everybody to be rich, because it's just not possible. You know, and you do have communist societies, and I haven't done much research into it, so I'm not even going to speak on it, right? Because I think you should be educated about things you speak about. A lot of people should take tips about that, by the way, because I see a lot of people speaking on things they don't know about. But
never mind.
But I do want to say, like, I was learning in relation to like my in relation to what we're talking about here. I was looking at my psychology class about like subliminals and like, you know, people trying to get you to do things for them. And we were learning like, oh, in AMC, like, I don't know if you know this, but they'll flash like a 0.5 second like image of food or some crap before a movie, and you won't even see it, but your brain will see it, right? What we learned is that can't make you get up and get food, but if you came to AMC hungry and already thinking, oh, I'm gonna go get some food, when that flashes on the screen, you're gonna go do it. So in a way, subliminals don't have an effect on what people will do if they weren't planning to do that. But what I say to you is this: if you have a generation of people that all think the same and all are kind of bending to society's rules, right? Because they realize that, oh, I'm going to be canceled, or I'm going to be ostracized because I don't follow this rule set. Yeah. And then they teach the kids to do the same thing. When those kids see the subliminals, they're going to be more, what do they say? They're going to be more like biased to it. You know, they're going to be more susceptible to it. You know, it's going to influence them way more than it did their parents, because their parents may have had some sort of individuality, but the next upcoming generations, they're going to be taught, you can't say this, you can't do this, you can't think this way. So when those subliminals do come on, they're going to think that I'm going to follow that, you know?
Yeah.
That's my question about it. I don't know if y'all think that's true. I don't know if you
I could see it that way.
Yeah, me too. Like, so that's why I posed that question, right? Because if we understand that a utopian oasis is unattainable, so the most only plausible it's still light years away. But even the most closest variable that we can get to would be a sheeple society, because the outlier, the people who are the anarchists, the individual people, are a very small minority. Mm-hmm. If you look at all the animal kingdoms, ants, everybody's on the same fucking page.
Mm-hmm. And they're efficient.
The lion prides, everybody's on the same page. The man lion does this, the female lion are the hunters and gatherers, and the men come for the bigger animals, and they have a sustainable ecosystem. So theoretically, the anarchists who want people to embrace their individuality are actually the upsetters of the closest oasis we can reach.
That's deep. Free thinkers are the agents of chaos. Yeah. In a sense,
free thinkers are the villains. God damn it.
Disco wants to cut you off. They don't want you talking.
Free thinkers are the villain in the story. Because wild. They upset the closest variable to a perfect oasis.
Yeah.
Because we know the oasis is, if you have a bunch of individual people and a bunch of people who deem things not extreme, this is more extreme. I'm more offended by this. I'm not more, like, everybody's thinking differently.
Yeah.
Then it will be complete chaos.
But you know what the problem is? So you know what the problem is? Who deems what ideas are right and not even right and wrong, but who deems what ideas should be enforced or not? Because if I go back, but exactly the mass, right? But the people who changed the mass are the free thinkers. Like go back 600 years ago. Almost everyone was cool with slaves. They're like, yo, you don't got a slave over there? What you doing, bro? Like, what you doing on your farm? You actually out there picking your own cotton, bro? What you doing, bro? You see my people out there? What you talking about? And then they came.
What you mean you pulling up your own roots?
I mean, what you mean? Whoa! You can't use let's.
I'm not gonna say everyone. I'm not gonna say everyone.
No, if we're gonna tell the story, we're gonna tell the whole story.
Yeah,
the freeing of slavery was propaganda used
by
Lincoln.
It was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
because I'll tell the whole story because in case anybody
he didn't do it out of the righteousness of his heart.
I'll give Lincoln his props for doing it. Of course, I'll give him his props for doing it. But the reason he did it was because the Southern people, they were gonna get assistance from, I think, Great Britain. They were gonna get assistance for Great Britain, and what Lincoln did, because Great Britain outlawed slavery because they said, yo, this isn't right, bro. This isn't cool. They said in order for Lincoln to stop them from getting involved on the Civil War, he outlawed slavery. And he made the battle a slavery battle, which it was never a slavery battle. That's the Civil War that they say it in textbooks today. Oh, the war was about slavery. It was not.
No.
It was just a coup. It really was.
It was just beef. It was just beef.
Yeah. It was just beef, and he made it about slavery in order to stop Great Britain from coming back in. Because he said, "Nah, this is not y'all's battle." And
that's gonna come over with the red coats. The neighbors about to come like, who has
not
slaves?
Only that, that was one of the main propaganda points. But not only that, the slaves outnumbered the people in the South, and they were going to use the slaves to support them, the Confederates, to fight against the North. So by freeing the slaves, you take damn near half of their demographic of soldiers in the war.
Yep, he outlawed slavery in the Confederate. Not nationwide. It was in the Confederacy. It was literally an asterisk, bro. And people don't realize that in the Confederate States, slavery is illegal.
You got to think about how mentally trapped these people were to the fact that their owners. I'm not even owners. That's so like.
That's what they were. That's true. That's what they were.
But the people that control them and own them, they were ready to give them guns because they knew they're not going to turn on us. They're going to go fight for us. You know, that's crazy. That's crazy.
They can kill us. Give them the guns.
Give them the guns.
And there were slaves that complied. There were slaves
probably
that
was a ton that did.
Yeah, they were like, I don't want slavery to end. There were people like that were sold that Stockholm syndrome, that feeling. There were some slaves that did comply to that. So
psychology's crazy, man. The things you can
wild, bro.
Get people to do.
I freaking love
strong physical men.
Yeah, man. It's insane to think about, right? And I'm gonna bring up Kanye, and I'm not gonna talk about his ideas or anything like that. But I will say he's an example of like kind of what they did to slavery. It's like I saw a video of Charleston White. I'm not even a fan of that guy. He's kind of a freaking hooligan. But
he's entertainment.
But I'm not the biggest fan of that guy. But he was talking about it, and like what he said did make complete sense. Like I'll give someone who I don't like credit if they say something I like.
Well,
you know,
the thing is like you don't have to be a smart man to say smart things. Sometimes you know a message will make it to people, and the sender doesn't matter. You know,
but my problem is with people who like they'll look at someone who like maybe they're a Democrat and they're looking at a Republican. Since he's a Republican, nothing he says is right. That's a stupid thing to think.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
What I say is like back in that time period of slaves and stuff like that, what they'll do is that they'll get someone who was acting out and they'll get the biggest and baddest guy, and then they go beat on him and like kill him to show that this is the toughest one you guys have, and we just did what we did to him. So don't even think about revolting against us. And you're looking like Kanye, and you can put this in anybody's shoe, like Andrew Tate or anybody who you would consider a free thinker, regardless of if you like him or not. I'm not saying I endorse anybody.
Right. We just talked about it, man.
Yeah. You look at anybody like that, that's the same tactic they're doing. It's never changed throughout the last like 500 years. They'll put them on a pedestal. They'll make sure they'll draw out news articles. They'll cancel them. They'll deplatform them. And then since they deplatform them off of all social media, they can write whatever they want online because he has no access to what's being said about him. He can contact smaller news stations like, yo, I said this. He got people make videos about him. But when it comes to people hearing it directly from his mouth, it's just not possible anymore. That's why the dangers of deplatforming is insane. And I really do think I want to ask you guys about this because this is a hot topic for a lot of people.
Let's go.
Do you guys think that there should be government intervention in social media? Because I legitimately think that there is an aspect of free speech that should be kept in social media or should be enforced. I think it's wrong to be able to just deplatform someone because the world that we're in, that is the same thing as being ostracized from society as a whole. You know what I mean? That's like being kicked out of your town in a way. That's how I don't think it should be like that. What do you guys think about that? What's your take?
The problem with that is you deprivatize it at that point. And then if let's say if the three of us, like literally what we're doing, like let's say if we weren't putting this on YouTube, but we were paying for the domain, we're putting this directly on postofficesquad.com and go check it out.
Shameless plug.
And let's say if we're putting it just on our platform, right? Like, and we're, trying to do some revolutionary things. We're not breaking any laws, but if the powers that be say like, hey dog, can't be saying that, so I'm gonna just take that off. Like, that's almost what we're inviting, because if we say that like they can intervene and prevent somebody from being deplatformed, they can also decide whether or not you have a right to even be on the platform in a certain way, because we deprivatize it. Now it's not about making money. Now it's becoming like a public library that's just online.
But if that makes any sense. To rebuttal your point though, what I think is this. I think there's a difference between getting like banned off a platform and getting deplatformed. You can be banned off of Twitter and still be good on Instagram and TikTok and everything else. Yeah. Right? Deplatform for me is like, you see this happen, they don't talk about it. Like obviously they don't announce, oh, we're gonna ban this person on every social media today. But at 10 p.m., person was banned on Twitter. 11 p.m., he was banned on Instagram and TikTok. And then 12 p.m., he was banned on everything else. You can't tell me that's not according to the thing that they're all talking to each other. There should be some type of thing against that when these big companies that have control of this huge audience that can sway certain ideologies, that can sway certain things about our government, that they can all just conspiracize together and say, we're going to remove this person from our platform. There is something wrong with that.
Oh, yeah. I don't disagree. I think the problem is you just can't have like the government saying like, nah, you can't do that. Because at the end of the day, it is private. I'm not for or against it. I think that we shouldn't try to hinder free speech in any way. Hate speech, violent speech, that kind of stuff. I get that. But at the same time, there's no real way to say that it's a conspiracy or they're being conspired against. I mean, we see it. We know what's happening. Like, we see what's happening. Yeah. But, I mean, who's to say if, like, I own Twitter and I go, all right, Ray can't be on Twitter, that you might not go, that makes sense, so he can't be on Facebook. You could be inspired and not necessarily be conspiring together. Like, you could be like, all right, this makes sense, so we're not going to do it. It's kind of how we have federal law and then state law. State law, this state might say, hey, you can drink at 21. Well, no, I think that's a federal thing. But anywho, like you get what I'm saying. One state could say this, other state could say that, other state could say that, and only if it becomes a federal crime does the federal government get involved. I think that's the same thing with social media. You can't really prove that it's a conspiracy when they literally have the ability to say, this is my private entity. I decide you can't be up here anymore. Your account's banned or you can't be on here. I think there's no true evidence unless if you can prove some kind of a crime. There's really nothing that can truly be done. I don't think, unless if you guys know something differently, people that are watching this or you two, let me know. But I don't think that there is anything without like there's got to be some crazy concrete evidence where rights are truly being infringed versus, a private sector going, I just don't want this on my platform anymore. But it's just too hard to prove.
I feel like because people say that all the time, like, yo, it's a private company. And that's true. It is a private company. Mm-hmm. But you cannot tell me that the government doesn't intervene on things all the time that you don't even realize they're intervening in. Like for example, at a big company or at any job or any company, if you just fire someone, like maybe they're working for 10 years, but if you just fire them and there's no reason, they can like turn around and sue you and be like, yo, you fired me for no cause. Or it's
hard the burden of proof is always on the accuser. And you're always fighting an uphill battle whenever you accuse somebody. So let's say if I fire somebody today, I could just literally be like, yeah, the work didn't, I couldn't sustain it because the workload wasn't good enough. Like you can say anything, and as long as it sounds credible, like, I mean, sure, we might like had beef when I fired you, like, but prove it.
Well,
I could be like, yeah, I'm down in sales.
But I'm saying is
I'm not paying extra.
Does intervene a lot though. Like when it comes to the hiring process, like, oh, you can't discriminate on age, you can't discriminate on race, you can't do this and that. Like you can have on paper. But you can have a job that's like, a job like, it's forklift lifting or like lifting heavy things, and like, yo, you can't discriminate against this 80-year-old man that probably will break his back if he lifted up this 30-pound box.
Technically you can't, but you can be like, he didn't have the qualifications I was looking for. Or like it's just there's too much gray area whenever there's something you desire for you to be like, this is why I didn't go with it. It's too blurry. Like nothing is truly non-discriminatory or, easy to prove that something's discrimination, because I mean there's just too many gray areas, I think.
Yeah, like, Ray, we haven't let you put your idea out. We're going back and forth. Sorry, bro. Let's hear what you have to say about this, man.
Yeah.
I know you've been collecting data from what each one of us has been saying, so I want to hear what you say.
He had his scouter on his eye. He's checking power levels right now.
Power level 7,000.
So we're gonna go into this. It's about to get deep. Okay. So I do agree and believe that there is government interference. Mm-hmm. I do take into account what Brian's saying about inspired and not conspired, but I have evidence of things to prove that it is conspiratory. Is that a word? Probably not. But
conspiratory.
But they understand the word, They understand.
Yeah. So the government has weaponized cancel culture. Mm-hmm. Us as minorities have given them the ammunition for cancel culture because we initiated.
We started it out.
Well, women, then it transitioned to minorities, but the people who are not the government, basically, we gave them the ammunition for cancel culture. We've also, and like I said, I'm not going to get into specific details, but you can read between the lines. We've also given them what they've been yearning and longing for the longest, which is the white card. So now, with the white card, that gives them the accessibility to call out and say, you can't do this to me or treat me this way because of this. We know that are certain people who follow what they're using and weaponizing to cancel people are majority, and it applies and is applicable for mainly Caucasians, right? Mm-hmm. And so because they have a level of influence and power, and I'm talking from a government standpoint, that they are able to deplatform, and I mean, dude, they're taking people's bank accounts, seizing and freezing people's bank accounts, their entire social media platforms, their way of living, way of life. I don't see the same attention to detail to somebody who can go on tour and sign hoodies for a man who shot a black kid in America. And I don't see this same kind of attention to detail where I don't see his bank accounts being frozen. And he went out and actively, physically killed someone.
Yeah.
But we're all this hoorah of freedom of speech. And like I said, I agree with Brian also. Hate speech, violent speech is unacceptable. And if you incite some type of physical harm to people, that's no good. But we had a president who cheered on and campaigned for people to storm and riot the Washington, D.C. And yes, he doesn't have a Twitter, but I don't see his bank accounts frozen. I don't see his media shutting him down at every turn he goes. I think it's again, they're using and they're weaponizing cancel culture on us now. We've kind of given them the gun, and they have the most powerful version of that gun. So yeah, they got the meta. They definitely got the meta right now.
You don't see the $9.99.
Yeah, and yeah, man. I feel it's only gonna get worse. It is definitely government controlled, government influence. I don't think that they're just, inspired by doing this and doing that. They're hushing and shutting up who they want to shut up. And they're doing everything in their possibilities, in their possible fucking manners, nature, resources to silence and keep people out of the limelight or put them in the limelight. The same way you guys were talking about discriminatory against people who can't lift things or ageism or stuff like that. They also use that in the reverse to hit quotas, and we got to hire this amount of black people, and we got to hire this, and it may be somebody more qualified that doesn't meet or match that quota necessarily.
And they get discriminated against for being better. Maybe, possibly. Not saying 100%, but possibly.
It can happen. Yeah, it can happen. And it's just a wild, wild fucking time we're living in, man. It's scary because I feel like it's only going to accelerate and get worse. This is just the people like Kanye and stuff like that are just the experimental phase of it.
But it's crazy though, because like Brian was saying, social media they're like private companies, but like you were saying about the bank accounts and stuff, technically those are private, they are regulated by the government. They have regulations and stuff like that. But technically there are private banks, they're private organizations, and they can close your account. They say, "Oh, I want to close your accounts." They can do it. They may have to put a reason down, but they can do it. That's crazy. They can freeze your assets, close your accounts. They can deplatform you. And I'm not even gonna say it's not a normal thing. This is the extreme rarity for anyone. It's probably 0.001%, because you have to first off, you got to be in a high position, a very high position where you have a lot of influence for them to deem you dangerous. For them to deem your thoughts dangerous as influencing enough people. You have to be in a really high position, and that's already the top 1% people, right?
Yep.
And then your thoughts have to be dangerous and have to be extreme enough to the point where they think we're canceling you off the platform. So realistically, we're not even talking about a big group of people at all. But the problem becomes I think there's two sides of this coin, right? Because with what I'm saying, the government should step in. If the government does step in, they'll step in a little bit, but then after the time they'll step in fully, and it'll become something that's completely controlled by the government, and it'll be a bad idea. But the other side of the coin is, right now the media is canceling these extreme views. But if you go down the road in 50 years, a person who says anything is not even extreme, but anything different from the norm, would they be completely canceled? Where it would be at a level where it affects everyone instead of just 2 out of 10,000 people now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's two sides to the gun. It's which evil is worse? And I think the problem is the public doesn't have a say in either at all. That's the problem. The public never has a say. And it's the sheep mentality. It's a big part of it. But the other part of it is that they made it in a way that you can't have anything to really say about it. You know,
Yeah.
the only thing you can really do is try to create a other competitive platform. But the problem is nobody wants to use that crap. You know, I got Twitter.
Nobody
bro.
wants to be on Brian Tube.
Yeah, like
when they could be on YouTube.
You want me to go on? You want me to go on Parler, bro? They're calling that the Nazi Twitter, bro. You crazy, bro? I don't want to go on that crap, bro. I'm going on Twitter, bro. I get like
the Nazi Twitter.
I get like 10,000 likes on my tweet. I'm going on Parler, I'm getting 5 likes, bro. I'm like, you kidding me? I ain't going over there.
You'd almost be feeling like you wasted your content. Like, oh, 700 people saw this. Yeah, a billion could have saw this.
Yeah, like,
man.
It's insane to think about.
And
You can't really have any competitors at the moment. TikTok coming into what it came into was insane. And I think it was insanely helped by COVID. But if COVID wasn't there, I don't think it would be nearly as big as it is right now. But to create a new social media app, it has to be something on the borderline of addiction in a way it's set up. You know, that's what TikTok.
I think TikTok was going to get there regardless.
Yeah, it depends.
I do. Their algorithm is insane. It's like it creates this euphoric feel, like it's like a drug, because their algorithm is by far the strongest and best algorithm I've seen on all social media platforms.
But you know what the problem is though? I feel like that algorithm and like how it feeds you. Once you take a pause from it, like for me, it wasn't on purpose, but for a little bit, I just wasn't on TikTok. And then after a while, like for me, like the last 2 months, I can't really watch TikTok anymore. I'll be like on it for 5 seconds maybe, but like my friends be like, "Oh, I sent you a video on TikTok." I'm like, "Bro, I haven't been on TikTok. I have legit like 200 different DMs, not DMs, but like, you know, messages sent by friends, videos and stuff that I haven't opened because I really just not on the app like that. I'll post something and then I'll get off of it. But after having that pause, it's not really as attracting to you as it was before."
Yeah.
Well, if you've got other things consuming your time too, other positive things, like, you know, you're working on school, you know, like right now, your head is in the right places. But if you, fortunately, you know, that means you got better things coming. But if you take somebody with no direction and, you know, you can somehow get them to scroll through endless video after video after video after video, I mean, you've won. Like you can get people to do that. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Before TikTok, Vine, I don't even think was around, but I would get in that YouTube wormhole, connect my phone to the TV, bro, and like I wouldn't even like open a book. Like I wasn't researching nothing. I would just, it would be like stupid stuff like top 10 facts about this and top 10 this. Like I had nothing else going for me. I wasn't trying to necessarily improve at what I was doing currently in that life. Like I could spend 8 hours on YouTube. Of course, it's long form content, but like if you have somebody with time and they don't have anything else going for them, they can get stuck. They can get stuck in that trap. And a lot of people are, you know, looking at whatever their TikTok algorithm is, and they're not doing other things and they're addicted to it. And TikTok is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Kind of like you said, an addiction is what it is.
And I'm not even just talking about like that algorithm that they send content to you. Like, yes, that is a big part, but even that people want to get famous, and that algorithm, how it can pick you up for the content you put out.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
It becomes an addiction because their algorithm, like I said, is the strongest, best algorithm. Whatever fucking coders they got over there, they're fucking good. Like they're good. And I'm like we were just talking about my TikTok earlier, and I'm like hitting and finding people that across the fucking world that are like interested in this shit, and it makes you want to keep investing, keep putting into it, keep making content for it, because I had one video hit 125.
Machine is what it is.
Yeah, like
it's wild.
It keeps you in it. Like it is. I can see like why. I can see based on how they have their algorithm set up on you as a consumer and you as a user.
Yeah,
I think they were gonna fucking blow up regardless, man. Like
I think
it makes sense.
That is true, because I feel like TikTok is different, because I feel like the algorithm works so much, because you can't say like on TikTok, when someone goes on TikTok, the average person that spends probably like 25 minutes on TikTok or 20 minutes on TikTok, that's like 400 videos. Like if it's 15 seconds of video, that's what 4 videos a minute. 4 times 20. Well, that's like 80 videos.
That's a lot of indulgence, still, man.
That's 80 different videos. And if you have like, they probably have 100 million people on the app like every 10 minutes or something like that. 100 million people watching 80 videos every 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes. That's what 8 billion videos every 20 minutes going out and going in. It's because it's so digestible. You know, I think you're right that the algorithm is insane, but it's definitely addiction. Everything's
addiction. Isn't it weird too? And there's not like of course a new sound or like a new trend will start, but if you think about it, it's indulging in the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like I only know about the stuff because like it'll pop up on Facebook or Twitter because people share the TikToks everywhere, and like it'll be something and it's getting like a lot of hits, a lot of likes, and that's cool. And then you'll scroll down, you see like the same thing. I'm like, oh, okay, this is popping too. It's the same content, just a different face, and y'all are still watching it. You know, like it's weird to me because I got other stuff to do. But I could see like if you've got nothing to do, you could literally spend 20 minutes watching the same 15 seconds worth of content, just recycled, reused. But like, I don't know, bro. They got to figure it out, bro. They got to figure it out.
People get lost in there for hours. I know people that have watched TikTok and they be like, dude, 2 hours just went by and I had no fucking idea. Because they're just like,
you ain't ate no snacks or drink no water.
It's
you
like
just watching
that
content.
Consuming, bro. It's microwavable food. You get it fast. You find more stuff you like, and then once it finds what you're liking, it floods you more of that. And then now when you post stuff, is hitting those specific, like they're good, bro. Like they're good. They're really good.
You know what's also like unintentional benefit of that though? It's like the standards of being a person who is ahead of society in a way, like better mentally, better like physically. It doesn't have to be physical, but like mentally, and just thinks better, works towards the goal more. It's just not being addicted to social media. Like I can go out to probably like 1,000 different people, and probably 900 of them would be like, yeah, I'm at least spending 2 hours a day on any social media app, you know, whether it be Instagram or Snapchat, you know. But if you're not addicted to that, and if you're only spending like 30 minutes a day on that crap, and then the rest of your day it's just stuff that you want to do, that you want to pursue, maybe it's work, maybe it's a passion, you're ahead of 90% of people because you're just not addicted to that stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. The people who don't have social media, I have one friend that just doesn't have social media at all.
I bet that kid reads a lot of books.
He is extremely smart. But the people that don't have social media are the ones that are extremely smart. Not even extremely smart, but are the ones that just know how to manage their life. You know, because that kid I know, he can talk to anyone. He's extremely sociable. He can make friends with anyone. He's a great guy. And I think that's because he's not locked into his screen like that. You know, a phone's just a phone for him. Having that advantage would be insane. I think that's something that every parent should teach a child nowadays. Be like, yo, you don't need that tablet. Please, I've seen videos about this. Don't give the tablet to like some 3-year-old kid. You know, I know you may be cooking. I know you may be trying to chill, but don't give the tablet to have CoComelon on for 8 hours a day for your child, bro. That crap.
They be like, here, baby, watch this.
That crap making your child's brain turn into mush. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it sounds like you're the villain in this story because the closest to an oasis would be to conform to the technology, and you want to be the outlier. So you're just trying to ruin society, basically. That's what
you can diss
my man. Chaotic.
Full circle.
There's other sides to what I say though, because I'm sure even though even if we didn't have social media, we would be spending 10 hours a day watching TV. People don't like to register that in their brain. Like, oh, I'm spending 8 hours on TikTok, and the parents may yell at them, like, why are you on your phone all day? And then they go down and sit down and watch like football for 5 hours doing nothing.
Yeah, you watched 8 teams play today.
You know?
Come on, Dad.
They're like
you ain't left the couch.
Yeah.
You stink.
No. Like, they don't understand. That's an addiction too. It's getting away from all that stuff outside of social media too. It's everywhere you go. Any company that's making money, at least when it comes to like the online type stuff or media entertainment, it's because it has an addicting factor to it. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the biggest selling points, and constantly pumping out dopamine. If you think about like football, right? If football was just a sport and it wasn't on TV and you had to go to the stadium to watch it, I think you would probably covet it more and appreciate it more. But now you can be consumed by it. Like there's the jerseys. You can literally wear something that's football. You've got the fantasy league. So now you're spending 8 hours that you could be working on something at work or spending time with your family going, oh, I got to make sure I got this person on the bench. Got to make sure this person's in. Got to make sure I draft this person next season. Like it's the ability to infect the daily life that makes things succeed. Like if you can infect small aspects here and there, you can like 100% like make somebody addicted. It's little things like.
I got to write that down. That's.
Look at what I got back there, right? Funko Pops, right?
Got everything. Like, he's a collector.
I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say I'm stingy with my money. Like, I don't like to just buy stupid stuff, but here I am literally with stupid stuff because they made it relatable. They made it infectious. They made it something that I could get into. And me as a guy going like, yo, why you just got money sitting on your counters? Like for no reason. Like, why are you doing it? That's stupid. And that's literally me. Like, if you make something infectious, it takes over. You can make a reasonable person addicted to anything if you present it right.
I'm writing that down.
Like, it's wild.
Smart. That's a good manipulation tactics. I'm gonna inquire and use that. Infect the little things. I never.
It's like I said, it's 1984. They literally took a guy who questioned everything. They flooded him with stuff. Eventually he got, if you guys haven't seen this, skip this part, skip to this time. That's going to be at the bottom. But like they literally tortured him and made, they made a smart thinking man think 2 + 2 = 5 because they infected him enough. They got into his soul, every fiber of his being. They could make him whatever they wanted him. The main character became an NPC.
I've been thinking about how I'm going to incorporate, like what type of little tactics of marketing I can incorporate for my clothing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's something you gotta think about.
You just gotta get like a niche that's like addicting, bro.
I've been starting out with some marketing.
Silly bands, bro. Silly bands went wild. It's literally just a rubber band that's in a shape. You can't tell what shape it is when it's on your wrist, but you're wearing it. Think about it. That's how stupid silly it could be. You know, like no pun intended. Like it could literally be that stupid.
Yeah, I've been starting up with the marketing stuff for my brand. It's hard at first. At least it was hard at first for me, but I'm getting used to it with how I have to approach it and like the looks. There has to be a theme that you're going with, and just a look to all the stuff that you put out. Because if you put out like 5 things that are like happy, go joy, like we're this company, we do this, and then the next video is like all dark, and not dark and say like words and stuff like that, but like the mood is dark, the colors are dark, and it's like we're this company, what's so cool and mysterious, like. Like what? Where did that come from? But like going back,
I love that we're having this conversation. Yeah. I've been like dropping little Easter eggs this entire pod. My marketing tactics have already been. You'll catch it on the replay. Don't worry. I promise you. In
my man is using us like the what do you call it when you get him in a room and then you just like, how do you feel about this? We're the panel.
But I do want to
go back. No, I'm just playing. But nah.
I do want to make a comment on what Brian was saying though, because I feel like I like our ideas, all 3 of us, because we have basically similar ideas when it comes to this type of stuff, right? And I think a lot of people agree with us. I think they're just afraid to.
We're different enough where we can debate, and we're not all just saying the same thing. We can have like free flowing conversation.
But what I will say though, I think there is a hypocrisy when it comes to us all, because. Yeah, being on social media 5 hours a day may be seen as stupid, and watching TVs for 5 hours a day may be seen as stupid. But I just think doing anything for like 5 hours a day is kind of stupid when it's not something that's directly affecting you. You know what I mean? Because someone could look at you and be like, "Yo, you've been reading that book for the last 8 hours." Like, cool. It's a book. You're getting smarter. Great. It has benefits. And there's benefits for everything. There's even benefits to social media if you don't want to believe it.
Too, yeah.
But yeah, you're getting smarter. But you spent the last 8 hours reading that freaking book. Did you eat? Did you work today? Did you go outside? Did you touch grass? Did you breathe in oxygen? Like doing anything for a prolonged amount of time, I think it's just unhealthy. And it's kind of crazy to think, because I feel like the only way you can get successful is doing something for a prolonged amount of time. But looking at anything like, oh, I've been reading this book for the last hour. I've been on this app for the last 8 hours. Been watching this TV, the show for the last couple of hours. I've been researching technology for the last couple of hours. I just think that anything when it comes to a prolonged amount of time can just be seen as bad. What do you guys think about that? Is that a hypocrisy when it comes to our arguments, or?
I think it depends. Like the book thing is kind of funny that you mentioned that, like that could be frowned upon. If you think about women 300 years ago, like reading books was like wild. Like a female could get bullied by another female for literally improving her ability to read because like it wasn't the standard. Yeah. Yeah. But more so women. Cause like it was like, well, I wouldn't say more so, but I guess it's different.
Because it was men that was looking at women like, yo, you can't do this. I mean, women have definitely frowned down upon it.
From a right standpoint, but if you think about like, if you see any old movies where, beauty is everything, or like they were in these like gender roles, like the men got educated or they fought.
You're talking about like the last 100 years. I'm talking about like 300 years ago.
Yeah.
Like 300 years ago, it was probably all men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the last 100 years, you're talking about like when they got the rights to do it and they still didn't do it because it was found.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Where even though like people had fought for these rights for you to be able to read a book as a female, like it's like, dog, why are you reading that book when you could be, getting pretty so that you can find a husband, and be subservient, in those time periods. Like, that is in and of itself like something wild. Like, but as far as the doing anything for 5 hours, I think yes and no. It depends on what the end goal is. Because you can read a book and it keeps your brain stimulated. So then that way you don't start losing your brain, over time. Because if you become somebody that's only watching TV, only looking at media, and you're not pursuing something else like through reading or exercising and doing these other like balancing things, then I think people literally can lose their minds, like from not reading and forcing their brain to be engaged in something. Reading is one of those medias that I feel is like a little bit different, because when you're reading a book, you have to use your imagination to visualize. You have to be stimulated only by words, and your brain has to paint that picture for you. Where if you're looking at like a movie or a TV show, they're not really stimulating your brain as much. You might think that you're getting stimulated, but they're just feeding you like, hey, here's this, enjoy it. Where reading is just different. It's you've got to be involved in creating the experience that you get.
But even then, once you finish that book, I'm gonna let him respond.
That's fair. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I'm gonna let him respond. But once you finish that book, yeah, you got to the end. But now what? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to the end. I finished the story. That story didn't. I mean, you may have learned some stuff from that story, but in total, you don't gain anything from that. When I win a game online, I don't gain anything from that. And I think the whole thing is like, does anything in life really truly matter? Like that's like a whole philosophical.
Okay, all right, so that's kind of like what we're
like. Yeah, I think that's where this conversation is heading to, because like, when I read a book, nothing comes from it. Like I can work and grind all day and be successful, and when I get to be successful, if I have a Lamborghini, if I have a house, so what? Like now, like what's next after that? You've reached your end goal. Who cares? You know what I mean?
If you have an end goal, then you've already lost. I think that if you know the purpose for the reason why you have the activities that you're doing, then it does matter. If it's I do this just because that's what I feel like I need to do, it's what's comfortable, then you might be doing it for the wrong reason. If you're reading a book and it's not fictional in any way, shape, or form, but you're studying for 5 hours, and that studying just is in the form of a book. You've technically read for 5 hours, but it was productive. Now, if you frown upon reading like fictional books and works of art,
to all you illiterate hooligans out there.
Huh?
I said to all you illiterate hooligans out there.
Yeah.
How dare you read a book?
I think you have to understand the purpose for why you're doing it to understand whether or not it's valuable or not. Because I think we've said it many times, like to play devil's advocate, to be successful, you've got to be obsessed. Right. And if I want to be the best surgeon, what do I got to do? I have to gain the most amount of knowledge and make it where it's behavioral and I'm not thinking or stuttering over it. And you do that through repetition. That's getting the reps of reading the books. That's practicing the surgery. So if I spend 12 hours practicing on a dummy to become more prolific, have I really wasted the time? Or should I have been outside, touching grass? Or is the work that I'm putting in now going to save somebody's life 10, 12 years from now, because I obsessed over it? I think purpose is what defines whether something is worth it or not. You have to have a reason.
I agreed with that part.
That was real cute what you just did there.
As an illiterate hooligan, I fucking hate reading books. They are so boring. My last book I read was Ready Player One, 2015. The last book I read before that was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Props to reading a book when you had the option to only watch a movie, though.
That's different. The movie wasn't out. The movie, I
would watch it. Oh, okay. All right.
He said that the option wasn't there.
Okay, kudos.
Yeah, take that back. Outside of school studying classes that I had to read, if
you actually read in those classes? I just bored. I ain't gonna lie.
No, I did.
If the story was good, I would read.
Yeah, sociology and stuff like that. I had to read about classism and all of this stuff. But if it ain't a comic book, I'm not reading it. I'm a visual person. I feel that. Example person. I learn more through trying, failing, experimentation. I'm more of that type of person. I learn through going through the process, going through the steps physically, visually, stuff like that. Reading is just a super boring thing to me. I'm just curious as to why that is deemed as the status quo of higher learning.
I will say, I think it is a society type thing that I don't think visual learners should be frowned down upon. I think what it is that in order to really enjoy a book, I think you have to be really imaginatory and creative inside your mind.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying if you don't have those things, that's a negative, because it's not a negative, right?
Yeah,
but we're built different. And in order to be imaginary and creative, it always has to be like, for me, I feel like I'm a more creative, imaginary type person. I'm always thinking about something. I'm always like envisioning something. Like I can think thoughts in my head. Like I can like legit picture things in my head. There's some people that can't do that at all, you know? And like when I'm reading a book, I get satisfied for reading that book because I'm like, yo, this was a good book. Like the dialogue was great, and I can like picture it in my head.
I like good dialogue, bro. You'll get me on like well written, like, ooh, that boy's spitting.
Yeah.
Like bro, good dialogue, bro. Like, all right, that's my thing, bro.
I agree.
But I like that.
There is visionaries and there's people who are imaginary and like creatives. There's nothing wrong with either side, but I feel like people favor the imaginary and creative side because those people. And maybe you can say I'm wrong about this. You can say that it's not supported by anything. Obviously, I didn't do research into it. But me personally, from what I've seen online and see the people who have become successful, people who become successful, who become innovators, are the people who are creative, who can think outside the box and think for themselves and actually picture themselves and picture things in their mind. You know what I mean? That's my opinion on it. You don't have to agree at all. I'm not sure if you do agree. But I feel like people who do become that successful are the people who are creative, you know?
And I think that you can be creative without having to have that like imagination, stuff like that. Like let's say Ray said he's visual. I'm visual to a certain extent. Some things I prefer to read and isolate myself and learn them on my own and then put it into practice or be social with it or have someone walk me through it. Like I might do the research in advance, you know, on my own. Because I like to have background before I do anything. But at the same time, I think that's where the purpose comes in. Like, let's say if Ray wants to know how to do the surgery and he'd rather see somebody doing it with their hands versus reading step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The purpose is the same. The execution is just different. So as long as you can justify anything with a purpose, it's not truly a waste. And that's not saying that if you enjoy something for entertainment purposes, you're not allowed to do that. But to say you do something for 5 hours, I think there should be a justified reason. And if your reason was, I had a rough week, I needed to decompress, this was going to help me decompress. Therefore, when I was done with it, I feel better. That's not time wasted. You know, it's all about the purpose. Why did you do it? If you can justify it, you don't got to prove nothing to me. As long as you're happy.
I agree with that. Like I see the benefit in like what you're saying about like reading and stuff like that. Like I kind of have that feeling when it comes to like well thought out, put together movies. Like I look for the cinematography, the pacing, the editing, the colors that they use, the visualization, the lines, the dialogue, the delivery of everything. And it's like I have that visionary like imagination type shit for books. It's just that I like to see it performed already and then how it stimulates me and how I'm emotionally invested and drawn into that color that they use, that lighting that they use, that performance and that delivery, because I feel like it's more bourgeois to and to translate that art versus I feel like books, and this is just me. I really just don't like. It's weird because I enjoy the visualization of man, but I don't like the words of man because it's just, I don't know. To me, it's just they're trying to paint something for you that they're loosely wanting you to see. Whereas a movie, a painting, music is they're doing that, but there's more of your interpretation into that you can people can watch a movie and 7 people take away different things from it. Whereas as a book is kind of finite as to where it is. Like you can have this great imagination, but the book is the book and is for the most part linear and is finite to where it's going. Whereas a movie, you can watch Batman vs Superman and you hate that movie, and take this, you can feel the same way. I can take that. I love the take that they tried to take on from a religious aspect, painting Superman as the Jesus Christ figure, the shots that they use, the stills that they use, the way they the people turned against him, same way with Jesus Christ. Batman was seen as kind of the more Hades dark figure. Lex Luthor, the religious position that he took. Like multiple people could see a movie and take completely different interpretations from it. Whereas a book, I feel, is more linear. And like, yes, we say it's more imagination involved, but it ultimately also it leads to that same execution for the most part. You have books that can be ambiguous and that can be super fucking, up for interpretation. But I feel like you get more of that with movies because, like I said, you could put 5 people in a room and watch a movie and they might all have different interpretations of it. So,
but that's why I think books are made more by their dialogue, though. Like that's why I didn't mean to make a lot of noise in my chair. Jeez. But like I was gonna say, people are proficient in different areas, and just because you're not imaginative or creative when it comes to books doesn't mean you're not when it comes to something else. Just because you're not proficient in something in one area doesn't mean you're not in a different area, right? It doesn't deem your whole character a whole person. So to say that this person doesn't like books, it's not a determination of who they are as a person, because they can definitely be creative and innovative in other areas, right? Although I was talking about like how books can be a signal for that, for sure, like I was saying earlier, but it's not the only signal. There's other signals for it. But I think when books compare to movies, I think what you're saying is the explanation for why you love movies so much. Because movies are less about the dialogue. The dialogue is a huge part, but it's about the cinematography.
I mean, not in all cases. A lot are super dialogue heavy and story driven.
But that's true.
Like there's so many variables in it.
That's true. But think about this, right? A movie with terrible dialogue that's shot perfectly can still be a great movie, even if it doesn't have the best dialogue. Not terrible, but like it has like decent dialogue, right? But
it depends.
But like, let me finish the point.
Okay, all right, yeah. We'll hear.
But like a movie with great dialogue that's just shot awfully that you can't watch, because the whole point of a movie is for you to see the moving images and see the environment and see what's playing on the screen. If you have a crappy filmed movie, no matter how great the script is, it's just not going to be a good movie at all. That's why you have people who enjoyed something like the Marvel movies, and they're like, oh, yo, this was a great movie, dialogue and stuff like that, but the CGI and like how these characters were drawn and how these characters looked on screen was just terrible. And they just didn't enjoy that movie because of the environment and the film around it.
And I think that speaks to, I guess, what senses are most stimulating to every person. Because for me, like, I do love like good visuals and the movie looking good, but like the small things matter. Like, what did you name the character? Does the name flow? Like, does it roll off the tongue easily? Do they speak eloquently? Like for me, if I can't quote anything from your movie, you failed to get me. Like if I don't walk around work the next day like quoting stuff, like you failed me. Like it's that's the reason why I like good dramas and I like comedies. Like I'm not as much in action movies. Like I like certain ones, Gladiator, but they all got quotable lines. Like they got to have quotable lines for me to get into it. Something that like makes me feel something.
But you can agree that a drama can't be filmed in a comedic tone. You know what I mean? If a drama,
I disagree.
You disagree, really?
Yeah. You ever saw the movie with Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt when he had cancer? Joseph Gordon-Levitt had cancer and Seth Rogen was his friend. That was a really good movie, and it was a drama and comedy.
But there's drama.
Yeah, I guess
that's
a genre called dramedy.
That's what I'm about to say.
Dramedy.
That's a subgenre, bro. But like, you can't do like it at the same exact time though. There's different parts.
You can.
There's no.
You can.
We just named the hybrid. Yeah, but
I
get what he's trying to say, but I think he's just missing the point. Like I think how you're trying to explain it is
like I can give you like you said movie with, I guess, not the most up to par cinematography. You ever saw the movie Buried with Ryan Reynolds, where the movie takes place literally him in a coffin?
No.
The entire movie.
No.
And he's on a cell phone with his kidnappers and stuff like that. That's the entire movie. Him in a coffin.
But I want to say that's cinematography though. That's because it doesn't.
No, you said have good dialogue, but if it doesn't visually appease you and appeal to you, then it would be deemed as a bad movie. And that's not necessarily always the case.
But
it depends on what you're like. I'm saying like the thing you feel about books. Like you look at books as this is this immersive thing that I'm diving into because of the dialogue and the story and how it's well written and how I can visualize and see the characters. I have that same stimulation for movies because I can pinpoint and tell you, well, I can give you a movie with no lines in it and it's visually appeasing. I can give you a movie that has amazing lines and it's not the most visually appeasing film, but it's still a great film. Those caveats and things do exist. The same way you can have a book with a great idea. Maybe the execution is poorly written. Maybe the characters there's not enough character development. I mean, movies are just books brought to life.
That's true.
And that is adding more stimulus. That's why I like it more, because it adds more stimulus to me. I get to see the colors. I get to see how the camera angles, the editing, the pacing, the acting, the actual, like, I don't have to visualize how I think they would deliver this line. I know Leonardo did this in that film and he delivered on this scene where he's in The Departed and he's going off about him having anxiety attacks to the psychiatrist. And he's delivering just an amazing scene. And I'm like, you feel it more. You get a feel more in it. Where books, yes, I give you this. It is more immersive because you have to devote more attention to details to it. You have to add more brain effort into it.
But don't get me wrong, though. I don't like one form more than the other. Like, I think there's certain things where one form shines more than the other. You know what I mean? There's certain ideas and topics where one form definitely shines more than the other. Like I'm an avid like manga reader and like comic reader, and obviously there's some animes or like comic TV shows that the TV shows are way better than the manga or comic. But there's definitely a lot of scenarios when the manga or comic may be way better. It just depends on the type of story, you know. And I think I cut you off earlier, Brian, but my bad.
No, I think it all just like depends on what stimulates each person differently. Like for me, if you told me, hey, there's this funny book, you got to read it. I'm not reading it. But if you turn into a movie, I'll watch a comedy movie all day long.
I've never read a comedy book. I've never read a comedy book. I've never read a comedy book.
Exactly. There's funny books. They're like comedians write books, but exactly.
I've never really read a comedy book.
Yeah, if you told me to read a book like, yo, dog, you got to read this. It's funny. I'm not reading it. Like, but if you tell me like, oh man, they're turning it into a movie and Paul Mooney's going to be it, I'm going to go watch that movie. Like, I'm going to go watch the movie. But I think different things stimulate differently for different people under different scenarios. Like, I think there's just it's all preference at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know.
And I will admit that I was wrong about the dialogue type thing, because dialogue is a huge aspect of movies. I was wrong to like, kind of discredit that when it comes to movies and stuff like that. Because if you don't have good dialogue, your movie's not going to flow good, regardless of how good its cinematography is. But what I'm trying,
I can strongly lean towards that as well, and that's just because I prefer good dialogue. I like to hear people talk. I talk all day. That's what I do for my job. I have to listen to people talk. Like, so if you can listen to like people going back and forth, and it's like, oh man, they wrote that way. I'd have never said that, but that's crazy that they said that, but that's good. And then like the other character comes back at them with speed. It's almost like listening to a song, but like you don't have music in the background. It's like, I guess, a sonnet or a poem. You don't have music, but like it hits. Like there's bars. You know. Oh, I can't read poems either, but you know what I'm saying. Like it's just a comparison, a different form of art to compare it to. Like I'm huge dialogue heavy and sound. Dialogue and sound are for me. Visual cues I don't care about as much. What's
one of the strongest performances you've ever seen in a movie? Like what movie that you like can go to and say, this performance, the way these lines were delivered is just like earth shattering, and like
the way that the lines are delivered. Well, I think
whatever performance
directing plays a part, casting plays a part. This is going to be semi-recency biased. I watched the movie when it came out in theaters and I loved it. Prisoners is out on Netflix and people are just discovering this movie. And
Bro, Hugh Jackman's performance.
That's it. That's the one.
I was planning to watch it on Netflix too.
God,
it's the greatest performance of all time.
Bro,
100%.
he tapped in to the gods,
bro. And I was like, nah, dog. On God, I'll kill you.
I've seen that movie when it first came out. Bro, I'm going to show you.
I get chills when I think about it. I got chills right now thinking about it. That's the greatest performance, I think.
It is one of the greatest Yo, hold on. Give me one second. I just brought this movie to somebody on Wednesday.
Bro, this movie is like 10 years old and people are just discovering it.
Just finding out, bro.
I got that movie on Blu-ray 2 feet away from me.
Yeah.
From its release date.
Show it to it's not true.
Bro, he went God tier. He went God tier.
Oh yeah. He was on some like Da Vinci.
And I have my answer too, but I'll wait till you guys are done with this conversation about Prisoner.
My man said pics or it didn't happen.
Send foot pics.
On the way, brother.
He's searching for that Blu-ray, man.
Yeah, I don't have like the cases.
He going on Amazon. That's what he's doing. He's doing same day delivery. It's gonna be outside his house in 25 minutes.
You know how Brian gets down.
Doing DoorDash. Oh,
where the fuck is this shit, bro? I just put somebody onto that movie literally like a few days ago.
And what's crazy,
it's the most under the radar sleeper to ever come out.
I just added it to my Netflix watch list like a week ago.
Nah, you need to watch it. Bro, you need to watch it.
You know how I told you to watch When They See Us, bro? Like you gotta
that
watch
was gonna
it.
be my answer. That was gonna be my answer.
You have to see it.
Yeah.
I think Corey's performance, and that might be like one of my favorites of all, like after probably Prisoners. And I know Prisoners is fresh on my mind, but When They See Us performance, when Corey is sitting there in the prison cell and he's thinking about like how his life would have been had he not went to prison and he just got to be a kid, bro.
Yeah, and like they say like, oh,
and that's a visual stimulant.
And they say like this is against like a society standard, but like they say like, oh, there's some movies that men should like. There's some movies that men are allowed to cry at. You know, that's like I'm not even for the whole like, oh, men shouldn't cry at movies. I'm not for that, obviously. But like that saying, I like the saying. I like the saying. And like if we were still going with that saying, When They See Us would be one of those movies. And like it's not even a movie; it's a TV series. But like it basically is just a movie. But they had to separate it into 4 parts because it was so long. You know, I think the acting from those characters was
super powerful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like it's I never like watched a series or a movie that left me so angry afterwards in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't not watch that movie and like not be angry afterwards and like just want to like if you saw the lawyer lady, the blonde lawyer lady, if you saw her on the street, you would want to punch her. You know.
That's how I feel about the dude from Boys Don't Cry. I hate this dude in real life. Peter Sarsgaard, I legit hate him in real life. Like I hate him in real life, bro. He's a great actor. He's really good. For him to make me hate him that much, bro, he's legit.
Exactly. Like when you hate the actor that much, like not just hate the character, but like you hate that actor. Every time you see that person, you hate them. It's a whole. And Hugh Jackman.
Hey. The focus went off. But nah, I'm gonna get at Josh because Josh just tried to call
Hugh Jackman
me out.
went. I put.
Like I didn't get the 2-disc special edition Blu-ray. Come on, don't play with me,
bro. That movie's a banger. Josh, you're up. That's a good one.
That's where I was gonna say. I was gonna say when they see us for the most greatest performance, because number one, I mean those actors aren't kids, but like technically they're kids. Cause like they're probably like what 19, 18 when they're acting.
They're Hollywood level kids.
Yeah,
like,
but
if you compare them to their career,
they're insane. Like their acting, their portrayal, it just feels so natural. And if the movie just takes you to a place like you're consumed by it, you don't want to turn it off. Like I never had a 4-part series that I just didn't want to turn off. Like I just kept going and going and going. I think I legit had a test that morning or something like that, and I was watching it at like 1 a.m. and I finished it at 5 a.m. and I took a nap, and I went to the class at like 7 a.m. right afterwards. But I didn't want to put the show down because it was such an impactful and powerful show. And I don't know. Actually, no, I do know. I think the reason why I don't even know why I said that, but I think the reason why
I don't know.
I do know. I do know. But I think the reason why those actors are so impactful, and for people who don't know what the movie's about, it's like a racial movie about like, discrimination against Black people. It's so impactful because you can get a white person or someone who's just not Black to sit down and watch the movie and for them to be angry and upset afterwards. Yeah. And like what's crazy is that like when you watch that movie, you're like, dang, this is crazy. Like this whole thing, the fact that it happened is even crazier. Like at the end, I didn't realize that it actually happened. That's what made me even madder. I was like, yo, this crap actually happened. I wanted to punch someone. But people will watch that and be like, yo, it's crazy this happened. And they don't realize like it happens all the time, and then they'll look like at a news story and be like, "Well, the reason why this guy had got shot, or the reason why this guy had got abused or some way, is because he was being aggressive, or he wasn't cooperating, or he did this, that, and that, or he had this on his record." And then, but if they made the same style of movie about that guy, you would instantly understand the story because you. Well,
and I think like the arts have a lot of power, right? And it kind of like how earlier I said, like sometimes a message can come in a way or from somebody that you don't expect it, or not from the right guy. And I think a lot of times we learn and we're taught how to feel about certain things and educated about certain things in media. That's a way that media was positive. And of course there was like a social media presence behind that also. People were talking about it, they were engaging it, but it was literally an art bringing and educating people on like a real world problem. Sometimes projects are, they're, I think sometimes divinely orchestrated to send a message, whether you think it's God or the universe, however you feel it. Sometimes, and honestly, things are meant to be presented to us no matter who we get it from or what avenue we get it from. We're meant to receive
and the fact
that information.
That, 100%. They had Corey in there, and the fact that he was just being a good friend. And this whole discussion about the movie is gonna sound weird to people who haven't watched it. Basically, there was this kid. He was with his friend, but the friend got like arrested, and he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna go down to the police station with him." And just because he went down to the police station to support his friend, they just put him in the case and said, "Yo, he's a part of this too." And they arrested him, and he ended up being in jail. And he was the oldest one. So when he got sent to jail, he got sent to a men's prison right off the bat. It wasn't a juvenile. It wasn't like a younger person prison. It was a men's prison. And he was already getting like into fights. I'm not even getting into fights. He was getting beaten on. It was terrible for him. And the fact that they have that person in the movie, it's not like it's like made for the movie that actually happened, obviously. But the fact that is in the movie, it's a character you can put yourself in, because although if it didn't have that person in the movie, you can say, "Oh well, I would have never been in that situation," right? You can say that to yourself. A lot of people say that to themselves, like, "Oh well, I wouldn't have put myself in that situation." So there, right? But then you have that character who's like, he wasn't in that situation, but he was being a good friend, which is something that everyone wants to be and everyone can relate to. And they're like, dang, I could have been in that situation. You know, having that relatable character that nobody can deny is extremely essential to that type of movie. You know, which is why I think that movie worked so well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you had no real villains on the protagonist side of things. Like the villains were in this movie, the white people that were trying to profit.
It wasn't even white people though. I wouldn't even say that because when you watch it, there's no mention of like
it's more the
white
government
people being racist. It doesn't say that. That's one thing I hate about like movies that are about like racism and stuff like that. You know it's a bad movie when they started off or like towards the middle they start saying that racism, white people, da 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 da.
Yeah,
you know it's gonna be a bad movie because they're just leading back on it.
Yeah,
they never mentioned it. They let you assume it. They let your thoughts be led to it. They never led to it. They never mentioned it. It was never mentioned at all in this case.
They created the image for us.
They created the image
to follow.
Because that's how crazy. It is in real life.
That's wild to think about.
Nobody will ever say it. Because you call someone racist, they'll be like, "You just call me racist? How dare you?"
Yep.
How dare you?
And they loosely
black friends.
They also made it to be interpreted also that it may be racism, it may not, it may be just classism, it may be something with the law enforcement. Maybe
but it can happen to any of us too.
I think racism and classism were enshrined. I feel like you can't talk about one without the other.
Not true.
In a sense, I like because
classism has existed in India and they treated people of lower like shit.
And you even see it like I think with white people as well. Like I've got the person that owns a shop. He's well off now, like he's good. And I don't know how much this I can say. I don't know how far this is gonna go. But like he came from that. Like he came from like the lower standards of like classism, you know, not a lot of money. His grandparents had to take care of him. And like the way that he will like talk about like how he was treated by other white people and treated like trash. And like he has experiences of poverty that I've never known and, you know, heaven forbid, should never know, will never know. And he has pains that I don't know. And, you know, he's, as Paul Mooney would say, has a complexion for the protection, but he's got pain that I don't carry, you know, because of how much money his parents didn't have and things like that. It's wild. Like I didn't know his upbringing until like the last like 6 months or so. And like he'll talk about things and I'm like, man, that's wild. Like I got to see my parents not have like a lot of money, but like we weren't poor. We were never poor. Like we were never close to poor. But there was definitely like, nah, we're not getting that. This is not in the budget, you know, that kind of thing. Where like with him, it's like, nah, we like literally can't get that. Like it's different between choosing not to and not having the power or the ability. I think money can be a divider amongst the same races. And I think we even do it to ourselves as well. Like, I mean, think about Jordans, certain clothes. Like if you don't have these things or the car that people think that you should have, like you're a bum. Like I drive a car that's an 07, but I probably got more money in my pocket in my bank account than some people driving newer cars, and I'm not stressing about money. You know, like
you still got Bluetooth in your car?
Huh?
You got Bluetooth in your car?
Yeah, aftermarket. I made it happen.
I made it happen.
Like ain't no way, because I be seeing him on a freaking Snapchat and class Bluetooth up and everything. 2007.
Yeah, but the point that I'm trying to say is somebody could think that I'm broke. Like
got the rusty pipe on the ground sliding across the road and crap.
Oh no! My car's not from up north like y'all's cars. Y'all's 20. I've seen y'all's 2018s and they look worse than my 07 when they come down here to visit us. Wow. That's all I'm saying. Cars degrade differently up there than down here. But basically what I'm trying to say is
real
like,
metal. We got fiberglass cars. They got the real metal cars.
Is built out of. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like it happens with us. Even like it's not always racial. It can definitely there could be money classes or perceptions of money classes where we frown upon like me having a 07 car, but making a certain amount a year, living in a house that costs a certain amount. And because I'm not in an apartment and driving a 2017, I'm the bum. But like I could buy you.
That's why I say it's enshrined.
Like trying to flex or nothing like that. Like I'm not like rich or nothing, but literally like I could be like, yo, I could pay your rent this month and you cry out of joy because it would be game changing for you. Where if you were like, I'm gonna pay your mortgage this month, I'd be like, yo, that's dope. You're sick for that. But like, it's not going to change my life, you know? Like,
Yeah.
we do it to ourselves. We put the priorities on the wrong things, you know?
Yeah. But that's why I say it's a trying, though, because like I think racism and classism isn't trying. Obviously, there's going to be some certain aspects where it's not, obviously. But like, I think the fact, like, someone will look at like a white girl driving a BMW or an Audi or a Mercedes and be like, oh, that's regular. Like, you expect that. You don't even think a second thought about it. But they look at a black person and they'll drive a BMW, Audi, and they're like, dang, what they doing for themselves, man? Like, what? And it's not just white people; it's black people too. They'll be like, "Yo, what they doing for themselves? Like, y'all, you own a business or something?" And like, and if they get a response like, "Oh no, it's just my dad got it for me," then they'll be thinking like, "How did your dad get money? How did your parents get money?" Like, they'll be even more shocked about that fact. They're like, "You're saying your last generation got money? Huh? That don't make no sense, right?"
Yeah, it is. It is weird.
And then they'll be like, if you go to the hood, or like lower income areas, right? You see a white guy in the hood, you look at him like, yo, what you doing out here, bro? Don't you know, bro? Don't you know what? Don't you
some drugs?
Don't you know where you're at?
I'm not racist. I'm just saying. I assume they're
Like there was a video on
perception
on O Block on YouTube, right? And there's these three white guys, they were just walking in the O Block. The security guard for the block, he drove up to them. He's like, "Y'all know where you're at?" They're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Nah, don't go in there, bro. Because when you come out, you come out on the other side, you're gonna be robbed and everything. Leave." Yeah. Right. Yeah. But if you see a black person in a low income community, you just drive by. You know.
Yeah. And you just assume that they feel comfortable.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And like obviously people are like, "Oh well, stuff is backed up by statistics. There's more black people, this and that." But I like to say, I have a saying. You can find a statistic to back up anything you say. I hate the fact that people use. I mean, I don't hate it, but like I kind of don't support statistics to the most, because someone's like, oh well, black people cause the most crime, or this, that, and that, and then I can spit out some facts like, whoa, black people are doing this because you did this statistically, and this, that, and that. The statistics to support every single argument. I think. When it comes to like making agreements or making decisions, it just comes down to the moral values that you're going to be using in that decision, you know? Because there's always someone who's going to say something different from you. There's always going to be someone who's not agreeing with you, but you kind of just got to accept that fact, you know? But I think classism, I think racism, it is enshrined to a certain extent. Obviously, there's certain areas where they're not enshrined, but it's so ingrained in many of us that we don't even realize it's happening. Because I have those thoughts too when I'll see like a black person in a nice car, and I'll be like, "Yo, no, for real." You know what I'm saying? I know. I'll see a black person like driving like a G-Wagon, like that's like $150,000 car, and it's like now like a $200,000 car. Like, yo, what they do? Because it's not even like a feeling of resentment; it's a feeling of being proud. Like, yo, someone from my race that we're not seen as we don't really have that generational wealth because we weren't able to build it yet, right? Yeah. But someone from my race was able to get that far and buy that type of car. I want to know what they're able to do. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to see that it's so ingrained in all of us in society, you know?
One thing also kind of that you were saying, it's kind of like how Ray was saying, you can go see Batman versus Superman, sit 7 people in there, watch the same movie, get 7 different perspectives. And it's like the same thing with anything with society, like with statistics, kind of like you were saying. You can get 7 people to look at the same graph, and you can have 7 different narratives, or seven people explain things differently to fit the narrative that they want to portray. And that's where we just have to be informed enough as individuals to see things how they are. Everything that's negative, there's a consequence or a reason how it got there, or anything that's deemed as negative, there might be some positivity behind it as well. Like, that's just where we have to make sure that we're doing the research ourselves, understanding why things are the way they are, and making the changes if we're not wanting to be a part of that.
True.
Instead of just
that is why movies are better
to wrap it all together. Movies are
that is why
I concede.
No, I'm not saying that 100%. Like, it could be the same thing with books, but I think with movies,
ain't no way he's still arguing this point.
No, not arguing, just comparing. I think with books, you're less likely to have that happen. I think with movies, as a whole, humans are visually stimulated very easily. If you think about it from a sexual perspective, seeing the nice car, you may not know
wait,
stats,
what did you just say? Wait, back it up.
I said sexually.
Okay.
You like people.
I thought I was making sure I heard
real wild and frisky tonight, man.
I thought I heard you wrong, but then you started talking about cars. It's like,
hey baby, come in. No, let's stop. Nah, ain't no host coming in. But what I was trying to say is, I think the reason why movies are more
go back to the
or you could argue are more impactful is because visual stimulation is huge, right?
Don't forget the sound.
I mean, like, I like sound too. Yeah,
movies, the soundtracks. Don't forget the sound, buddy. You gotta add that to it too, man.
Yep, I think that plays a factor too. You're hearing things, you're seeing things. The book, nothing comes out of those pages that you don't imagine. The voice of the protagonist, if you don't have that voice already in your head, it ain't there. Where movies, they're kind of feeding it to you, and you can interpret it differently. Having the same people watching it. But I think because so much of what we see the world as is visual and things that we've noticed, seen, visual cues, I think that's why movies can resonate to more people a little bit more often. Yeah. But on the movie side of things, most of your movies average like an hour and a half, 2.5 hours. I think where some of the other media is like books can shine, or even video games, is sometimes you get more content per dollar or per project. You read a book, you're not going to read the book in 2.5 hours. It's going to take you a few days. So for me, that's more content per minute.
How many times are you going to go back and read? How many times are you going to go back and read War and Peace?
Oh, never.
That book's too long. That's like 800 pages.
One and done. Sometimes one and done.
How many times have you saw 1984?
I've watched 1984 probably like 3 times.
Oh, he's a hypocrite. He likes the films more.
No, I'm not saying that. I literally own a copy of 1984. I literally just brought it in for a colleague to read it.
What was better, Brian?
You want to know what I thought was better?
1984 book or movie?
The book. The book is more detail oriented, and I feel like it's more of a slow burn. The movie, no. The movie
is literally
it's good. It's great.
World changing. It defined movies for like.
I do think the book was better though, because I read the book and I watched the movie too.
For me, I feel like the movie was great, right? I'm not taking anything away from the movie. It didn't do the book
enough justice though.
Bro, the book.
It didn't do the book enough justice.
As great as 1984 is, as great as the book that is, it did not change the landscape of books. 1984 movie changed, I think it definitely was ahead of its time. Forever.
Yeah, 100%.
Forever. The impact alone of 1984, the book to the movie, the book is great, but you have so many plethora of amazing books. The 1984 movie, bro, it changed the landscape of how movies are received, done, shot, filmed, the millimeter type of film they use, the colors they like. It was the first one.
The book has influence too, though, because the
book has influence.
Honestly, I think it has more influence than the movie. I think so, but like think about it this way, right? Because people reference 1984 all the time, but it's not in reference to the cinematography. It's in reference to the story and what it means to our society. And you can say, yeah, the story of the movie, and the movie is what changed people, yeah. But that story didn't come from the movie; it came from the book. So anytime you credit, anytime you credit or reference 1984, and you're talking about the story, in a way, you're talking about the book, not the story.
There's more people that know of the movie and not know of the book.
I'll admit to that.
I can see that.
I'll admit to that. I can agree with that.
The book changed the landscape of movie.
Though.
Well,
I think Orwell, the artist and the visionary himself had the impact.
That's semantics.
That's the man. But what's crazy is, as I was reading the book, I saw things one way, and then when you read the movie, like the movie's darker, in my opinion, for sure. Like it visually looks darker. Like I picture everything that they've got is like utopian.
Go from what's
like it sounds like,
nothing.
Like I see it as like it's a prettier society, but like when you watch a movie, like it's gritty, like it's dark.
Yeah, no, I said the
and it's crazy that you can read one thing and then movie puts it together, but like when you see the movie, to Ray's point, I guess you could argue, is like you realize how real it is. It's like, oh, they really live like this, and you know when he goes, I think like hiding out with the girl, at one point, like they're really like in the trenches. They're in the trenches. Like, and I think the book, as good as it is, may not have resonated that as well. I still think the book is better for me. Okay. But I could see I still like both. I can watch a movie, I can reread the book. It's one of the few books that like I unpacked when we moved out of this place. Like I
want you to reread it this
3 books
week.
Out.
This week you're rereading that book.
I gave it to one of the boys at work because
the excuses.
I'll take a picture of it and I'll snap it to you. No, it'll be a snap tomorrow.
I believe you.
But I like it was just one of those things like he doesn't read. I was like, dog, you gotta read. Like you gotta no. He was just raised different. Like they didn't read books. Like he just comes from like we're all from the city. Like we're just brought up differently. Our education is different. He was brought up different. Like so he didn't have the same equality that we had when it comes to education. Okay. So reading isn't a priority to them where he comes from. So I was like, yo, you gotta read this book because you're literally living in 1984. I referenced it. He had no idea what I was talking about. I was like, dog, read this book.
Why? Give him the movie.
Swear to God.
Give him the movie.
I swear to God.
Movie's good.
Give him the movie.
The movie is good. I don't own the movie. I've streamed the movie many times.
Just send him the link to the movie. Be like, yo, watch this 1, 2, 3 movies link. This is the movie.
Yeah. I got one more question for y'all.
Yeah.
Because this is always a hard debate, right? Mm-hmm. What movie do you feel is the closest or the best? You're gonna say 1984. Outside of 1984.
Okay.
What movie is the closest or the best adaptation of a book? Like it quite possibly is just as good as the book or better.
Can I tell y'all a secret? I don't watch very many movies that I've already read the book, but I love that book so much that I watch a movie. Yeah. I probably got to think about it, to be honest, because I don't watch very many books to movie kind of things. Okay. I'll watch a movie because of what it is and then find out that it was a book. Gotcha. But then not read the book.
I think for me, because I haven't read too many books. I love books and everything, but I don't read it too often.
He watches dub anime. He don't read the subtitles.
Okay.
I watch dub anime as well.
Exactly. Don't insult us like that. Don't insult us like that.
Who wants to watch an anime and read?
Yeah.
I don't even like reading books.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. My God. Tell him. Turn back around.
You want me to watch a cartoon?
No. But like,
you want me to watch a cartoon?
You will not watch any sub, even if it was like
the choice. If I have the choice, I'm watching dub all the time.
If I don't have the choice, I watch sub.
What if the voices are terrible? Like, would you watch?
I never recognized
all the time
bad voices. But back to my answer, though.
You think? Wait, let me go. Okay. I watch anime because it is brainless. I want my anime to be brainless, power up, power friendship. We can do this together, get through anything. I'll train and I'll become the strongest. Mm-hmm. I don't need to read. I don't want to read when I'm watching that shit. Like, I'm going there to not think. You want me to read?
Yeah, that's fair. See, so I took Japanese for a year, so like I don't mind like hearing like the audio, like because some of it'll be familiar in a certain sense. Same way, like if you watch a novella, right? If you speak any kind of Spanish, you may not know 100% what they're saying, but like they'll say something wild, and you're like,
yeah, you'll catch something.
Flaming. I guess it like there's a certain amount of familiarity where like if I read to fill in the context, I'm not mainly just like reading the bottom. Like I'll be watching the visuals and like I'll hear some of the stuff and I'm like, oh, that catches on. But I feel like if they do it well enough, the art and how it looks and facial expressions, body language, it'll fill in the rest for you, I think.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Where like you go through the subtitles if you don't know what they're saying and you feel like you need to know, but like I think if an anime is directed well enough, you don't necessarily have to have the dub.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I'm taking dub, man. Josh is on you, man. What's your answer? Fuck this guy. I'm taking dub, bro.
Okay, first off, boot him. Always.
Mute his mic.
Boo this man.
Boot him.
My answer was gonna be, I don't read too many books, but I think my answer is gonna be The Great Gatsby, the movie that was
the movie was fire. That's one of them where I read the book first and then read the watch the movie. Yeah. I mean,
the movie was better.
The movie was better than the
book. The frick? Ain't no way. You capping.
No, I think he's trolling. He's trolling,
capping, bro.
Y'all, stream is over. It's time to go. It was fun being here.
Nah, hold on.
This man just said he don't read, and then he said I'm being serious.
That's my favorite book.
You're capping, bro.
It's a good
bro. Leo's my favorite actor, and I don't know what it is. I actually had a talk with a friend about that. I swear to God. I had a talk about this film recently, and this would really break TOS. I'll explain it offline. I don't like the movie.
You know, this
I
is
don't like, and Leo's my favorite actor of all time.
I promise this whole thing wasn't planned. I know this whole time we've been talking about how he likes movies more than books, and now we found a book that he switches. Listen, I promise it wasn't planned. But he's tweaking. The movie's better.
They said, let's really see who's behind this mess. You take it off. It's like
team fucking book.
That's
Great Gatsby is my favorite book. Bro. It's my favorite book.
It's a fantastic book. But like that movie, it hits
just
so
better.
many.
It's just better.
I still listen to the soundtrack to this day. The soundtrack is perfect.
To this day.
The soundtrack is perfect.
We'll have a
visually is stimulated. Like you got Leo in there. You got Tobey Maguire.
This guy, he's talking about now I'm stimulated the sounds.
That movie,
this whole night. That movie's a master in cinematography, bro.
When I passed by that movie looking for prisoners, I was like, oh, Gatsby, got to pull that out. Like, that's a fire movie, man.
Yeah.
What in the Twilight Zone is going on? When I was making my arguments for movies, he was like, yeah, they're cool. Now all of a sudden, I'm so stimulated, the sounds like
Gatsby is such a good movie. It's an almost perfect piece of art, in my opinion. Think about it.
He's not capping. He's not capping.
Anything that like won't break TOS that you can say that you don't like about it? Like,
no,
we got to talk about it.
No, okay, I will offend a group. I will offend a group. We will talk about it offline.
Well, either way,
yeah, I think that's a great movie.
I was gonna change topics a little bit because we have been talking about books for like almost an hour.
My man just switched up on us live on
air, bro. I'm putting that man's in the TikTok.
Let me at least get mine. TikTok. The only like I feel like the only book that and even the book is still better, but it's the closest. Like I don't count The Shining. I love the movie The Shining, but it's nothing.
There was a book for The Shining.
Yeah, Stephen King. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's the book is they're almost night and day, and I like the movie more, but it's not. It took so many elements from the book and like changed it that I can't even say it's a complete. It's not an adaptation, but I think it was great that he did it. Like, that's my favorite director of all time is Stanley Kubrick, 1984.
Yeah,
he did 1984, Clockwork Orange, The Shining, The Killing, one of my favorite noir films of all time. Stanley Kubrick is just the GOAT to me. And then, Christopher Nolan copies off of him and everybody else copies off of Stanley Kubrick. But my favorite, and I think the book is still better, but the movie is really like, if I gave the book a 10, the movie's like a 9.5 is Interview with the Vampire.
Oh, that's one that I've not written or read.
I haven't done either.
I've seen the movie, but I've not read.
The book is so fucking good. The movie's really
that came out when we were kids.
Yeah, the movie's really fucking good, but the book is like, that's the only closest one I could think of. The Great Gatsby, I hate that fucking film.
What?
And I wanna love it because I'm a Leo guy. I want to love it, dude. Leo's my favorite actor of all time.
Fix the world?
There's a difference between not liking the film and hating the film. You hate it?
I hate that film.
I'm about to leave.
And I want to love it. I want to love it. I want to love it, bro. Like, Leo's my favorite actor of all time, and I hate The Great Gatsby.
And that was like golden era Leo, too, bro. He had no misses. Like, around the time
The Departed, Blood Diamond. Yeah, he was
like
number
one.
Yeah, he had no misses.
Inception.
Yeah, Inception. Yeah, Inception was good.
I love Inception. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I actually brought the special edition from Europe that came with the spinning thing and the silver briefcase. I actually like own that shit, bro. Like that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Inception is one of the greatest movies ever made, man. So good. Interstellar too. Oh, Matthew McConaughey killed that.
No, I never saw Interstellar. I did not. But it's just a genre that I don't typically watch.
It's heavily inspired by 1984.
Okay, fair enough.
That's all you needed to say. That's all you needed to say.
Bro, Hugh Jackman's God tier mode. Bro, Matthew McConaughey went God tier in that film.
Matthew McConaughey leaves like his typecast. He elevates himself.
Bro, watch.
Matthew McConaughey, like his acting is all flat to me.
Nah, dude.
He steps up.
Ever since 2011, when he started, like Lincoln Lawyer was like his turn. Did you ever see True Detectives season 1?
I did not. Nah.
Bro, Matthew McConaughey's a beast.
Okay.
He's a beast. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna take your word for it because I trust what you say.
Watch Interstellar.
Media wise, okay.
Watch Interstellar. I
when
promise
when
you.
When he says, "I'm going to take your word for it," he's not going to do it.
No.
I'm saying like, watch it,
I'm saying like I trust his opinion on something. As far as like from a media aspect, we're about the same age. We like the same stuff. It makes sense.
Dude, I co-sign it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I just said Kubrick did 1984. Christopher Nolan's Interstellar is his love letter to 1984. Like he's paying absolute homage to Kubrick. You could tell Kubrick has always inspired all of Nolan's films. This is his love letter to 1984.
Okay.
You're going to love it. It's about space travel, time relativity, being in dense gravitational areas, you not aging, watching your children and family become adults while you're still the astral planes, bro. It gets deep, man. I'm telling you. Watch Interstellar, bro. So good.
Big bad.
But I wanted to switch gears a little bit here because we have been talking about books for a minute now.
I don't even know how we got down this rabbit hole, but like, I mean, I'm glad we did.
Yeah, we
learned a lot. We learned that secretly this man reads.
This man is secretly an avid reader, bro.
I only read comics.
He says that. But he read read The Great Gatsby.
And then he pulled out a banger book with a banger movie and was like, the book was better.
Yeah,
way better.
I did not expect that at the end of this.
They're not even the same. They're not even the same plateau, bro.
That is crazy.
Dang.
But I
gotta hear this.
I wanted to ask. So, we talked about this on the last podcast we had with you, but like your clothing and stuff like that. How's that been going? Have you been working more towards that? How's the thought process behind that stuff been going for you?
All right, so basically with that, I had everything lined up, and then life hit like a ton of bricks.
It do be doing that, don't it?
I got into a car accident, nothing major, but like I had the money set up for what I was gonna do, and then my car had got messed up, and then Christmas came along, and then birthdays were before that, and then just all these weird bills came out of fucking like nowhere. Expenses just came out of nowhere, and I was like, "Fuck, bro!"
And it's a newer car too, isn't it? It ain't no 07.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Improvement.
Yeah.
So, where did that come from?
No, I'm just playing.
So I feel like it's like a message or like some type of like divine intervention because I'm heavy on the number 23. Like I was born 223. 2023 is coming up. My number playing football was always 23. And I'm like, okay, I was going to do early soft launch in like late 2022. And then the manufacturers, they go on break from like now to like mid-January, like Chinese New Year and all this other stuff. Yeah. They go on a massive break and
it's
then they
long, bro. It's long.
Yeah, and then they get like a queued wait list, like how you guys were with Roco, because everybody's had their orders before then. So they gotta catch up on all that stuff. So your stuff won't get done until like March anyways.
And he's not even capping because I had the same thing with me. With my first sample I ever made, I was like 2 years ago. I tried to do it in January. She was like, yeah, we can do this, but like we're off next week. And we ain't coming back for like ain't coming back for like a month. You ain't gonna have this till like March, by the way. Just letting you know. Like
I'm telling you,
he's not capping.
Everything is aligning. And then the best thing to do is if you're doing for winter anyways, it's best to do it, set your shit up in the spring, summer. So you order and get everything in order, so it'll be ready for the winter.
Yeah.
So that makes the most sense. Fall 2023. I got the name. I got the
ideas,
design. Themes. Yeah, I got the themes. I already know who I'm going with. It's pretty interesting the route I'm gonna go. It's gonna be a Villain Society apparel.
Okay.
The little Easter egg, the villain.
Okay, was the shirt touch an Easter egg too? What's that?
No. Well, because Aaron, it was all.
That was a little Easter egg.
Aaron Yeager's perceived, and the whole theme of it and concept is just the misunderstanding of people. Mm-hmm. Is that the great saying is that everybody's the hero in their own story, and that's kind of the tagline 100%. For it. That we're all just misunderstanding because of lack of communication, lack of understanding. So the whole Villain Society apparel is what I want to go with. I already have a design. I'm doing 2 colorways, and then I'm doing a special version of it on how I kind of want to do. I've been toying with ideas of like everything is subscription based. So I'm kind of doing like the 2 colorways. I'm gonna go with a nice beige kind of thing, and then maybe like a off olive color, or maybe a purple, or something like that, like a dark, dirty purple. And then there'll be a premium one. So I'm gonna incorporate Twitch and YouTube into that. Like, certain type of knockoff, like subs can only have access to order, and I want to add QR codes into it. Make it an event, make it a thing, so it's not just mediocre by my standards. I already got the design. I don't know if you guys read manga. Josh, you read manga,
that's the one thing I don't read as much. Yeah. I'll take that visually.
I have the image in my head. I don't know if you guys have been seeing hoodies with this kind of tearaway material. Not tearaway, but it's like it'll be a hoodie.
Is it like it looks like it, but like it's layered? Is that kind of what you're saying?
But it's like the Sean Weatherspoon like shoes and all I'm talking about.
I don't know if you're talking about this. Like I've seen like these sweaters, right? Let's just take a sweater and it'll have like a ragged look here, but it'll be like a different color and it'll be like an image coming through. And I have this, I want to incorporate the tome, and that's going to be the name of this one drop. Like the colors are going to have their colors or whatever, but the premium one is going to be the Tomura All for One. There was a scene in the manga where All for One is coming through Shigaraki's face, and I want to add that tearaway kind of feel to it on the hoodie. And like, I'm gonna send you.
I don't want you getting too far into the details. I don't want you dropping the sauce. You know?
Bro, I don't care. And I don't care about that, man. I got way too much more ideas. I'm a big fan of Tetsuo. Akira's my favorite anime. Of course, I'm gonna add something with